And we're not going to be sticking too long here onto YouTube, guys. I will give you guys the link over to Rumble to head over here. Just did my weigh-in today, guys. 7 pounds down. Boom.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh? All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. I'm also confronting one of the biggest ripoffs of our times, the crushing cost of health care caused by you. It's also ensured that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here? Doubt it. We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. Why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat, they have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table of Titans. It is Thursday again, and we've got Stand Up for America with what we just saw coming out of the State of the Union, him showing the Democrats' cards just by standing or not standing. I think it showed a big chunk of America, at least the middle part of America, which is still in that conservative base, want to see the real version of America let loose and, less prosperity go. But the other side of the left still wants to hold on to the rainbow over there and that purple hair out there. So I still see the fighting out on Facebook. Yes, I went and checked to see how they were all doing out there. And it's still crazyville. It's still not working. Some of the people that 9 to 10% are just going to be lost, folks. We got lots to cover. We got international stuff going on, maybe some more. We got domestic things. We got fallout on the Epstein stuff and a whole bunch of other interesting things. And let's get right into it. I got a full crew today. I got Space Shot, Rdoc, and Tron. What is going on, sir?
Boom time, baby. Boss at the State of the Union. Historic and extremely memorable, guys. This was one for the books. And shout out, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, this was a rally. This was a long time coming. And this was putting the enemy in the corner, putting him in the spotlight for the world to see that this is real. Meanwhile, we have criminal Hillary Clinton in her deposition, everything happening at the same time. You want Epstein files? We'll give you the files. Oh no, Orange Man bad. Well, let's look a little bit closer. Be careful what you wish for. And I'll tell you what, man, heroism on Tuesday night, a lot of tears, a lot of joy, and again, setting that trap for the Democratic Party, whatever they have left. And I'll tell you what, Patriots, they don't have much left for this midterms. I feel the momentum's in our favor. We have to avoid any sort of large war conflict. We like clean and swift. But DJT, again, Ingersoll Lockwood, the last president, this is the final countdown. This is it. And we have 3 years to go. So shout out DJT for doing what he did there Saturday or Tuesday night at that State of the Union. And again, commander in chief for the world to see. And hopefully the world will lead by example. This is contagious, so shout out everyone joining us. Hit that thumbs up. Let's have a great show, and it's boom time.
Yes, Mr. Rdoc, sir, how you doing? You feeling better? We missed you last week.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't go to the hospital. We talked about it on was it Monday that we did the little show, the coffee thing? It was a follow-up for the MRI when I tripped and fell and slid on the snow and cracked my head on the cement. Anyway, everything was okay, basically. Things are going interesting. We could be at war with Iran any moment. Things are developing. We'll get into that and with some latest minute things. Afghanistan, Pakistan conflict is brewing up, and we have Geneva talks starting again today, both with Russia, Ukraine, bilateral, trilateral talks, and Iran. We'll talk about what is being represented in those talks and also what Trump's comments were the other night during the State of the Union and how some people are taking that and both sides of the picture. And we got some Epstein fallout, more Epstein fallout, and Ukraine nukes supposedly are in the talks too. So we'll get into all those little things tonight. The world is a little bit crazy right now.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing that we did see over there. Mr. Space Shot, what's going on, sir?
What is going on out there? How is everybody doing? And how are you, my fellow world patriots? How are you guys enjoying this last couple of weeks? And dude, I love that and how he absolutely put them on blast like he was like a school teacher right there. You should be ashamed of yourself. I absolutely loved it. And it was so easy. All they needed to do was stand up. But again, they can never, ever back up anything that President Trump says, period. They just can't do it. You know, it's not good for it's not good for their side, right? You know, they can't work with our side. So as usual, we always want to give a big hat tip to Country and the folks over at Liberty Base News who have been with us here on this 8-year plus running show since the beginning, formerly the Patriot News Crew. So go give them some love over at Liberty Base News. And of course, I can never, ever forget to thank the mods. And I told everybody I would do it. And I told Hulk and Rdoc and Tron before the show. I finally got around to doing my weigh-in now that everybody's not going to get everybody else sick over there. And I am down officially exactly 6.9, haha, wink, wink, 6.9 pounds in 2 weeks. So feeling great with that. But, dude, I'm just loving all this madness that's going on. And just let it keep coming. I just can't wait to see the next foot that drops. Oh, and Hillary Clinton, she doesn't know who that guy is. Epstein? Who? Huh? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so much stuff to cover. And of course, it's always back to you, Mr. Hulkinator.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I did go ahead and dropped out the Coffee and Chaos Monday, 10 a.m. If you want to come and hang out, that's 1 p.m. Eastern. Did with Mr. Rdoc. We kind of had fun, hung out, talked about some stuff. So go and enjoy if you would like to have some of that. Well, we had a State of the Union. I thought it was pretty good for him pointing out the bad side of the Democrats itself. A lot of people was considering it an award show. I think it was fairly more than that because there was a lot of, I think, conductor style things that he was throwing at the Democrats to see if they would stand up. Some of them did, some of them didn't, some of them didn't even show up. Tron, what did you think about what was going down with the State of the Union?
No, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, prior to the speech, we found out that I think Adam Schiff's Shift, a handful of others were just going to boycott it. And again, the less of them is greater for us. So, but yeah, the way the boss handled the room, he had full energy. He even, mimicked the 2016 winning. And most importantly, again, hitting the fields, the acts of heroism with our military and National Guard, getting those Purple Hearts and all, those Congressional Medals of Honor and whatnot. And this was a time for America to come together. We had the hockey team in there. And again, you can't have the golden age without literal gold. So there it is right there in the chambers and whatnot. And then we saw our favorite friends. We saw Nancy Pelosi. We saw Al Green with the sign. Again, they had their theatrics, but this is where they're at, and they don't have much left, guys. We're witnessing the demolition of the old guard, and again, to be a Democrat, like, you have to just not vote for them anymore. This is destructive, and everything's happening at the same time, building up. And this State of the Union kind of exemplified the last year of this third term, and giving us a nice bright outlook for the next 3 years. So shout out to Boss, you did a great job, and the speech writers, everything was fluent. I mean, one thing that could have went a little bit better, I think, is Mike Johnson should have utilized that historic gavel and kind of just tossed out Omar, tossed out Talib and whatnot. But nonetheless, it was great. It hit the feels. It was funny. It was well-rounded, and it was one of the longest ever. So Boss can do it that way as well.
Yeah, almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
I did watch it afterwards, and the full recording of it. And there's two takeaways that I guess I have from it. One, very light on the State of the Union in terms of the foreign affairs. He talked about Iran. He gave a few seconds to Ukraine, and then the rest of it was kind of a repeat pattern of talk about something that we did, or we say we did, and talk about it in a series of platitudes, and then get everybody to stand up, clap, applause on the Republican side while the Democrats sit down. And this is a political act because midterms are coming up, and he's got to be able to show that the midterms, the Democrats are not the party to choose. That you got to go with the Republicans, right? So that's important. I did not hear too much in there related to plans for the future, concrete plans about how he's going to deal with certain things, domestic things related to economy, certain things that translate down to working class people, or people that may be struggling financially and things of that nature. It was a lot of platitudes. And I've heard some commentary related to that from people on the Republican side that wish that he would have done that because they're facing those questions in their local races. And anyway, so those are the two takeaways I had. Very light foreign policy because because that's where the focus has been this last year, and not too much on he doesn't want to dredge that back up because that brings negativity. Nothing on Epstein or any kind of political fallout or arrest or anything like that. And everything was what his speechwriters needed him to say for the upcoming primaries.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for you, Space Shot, on that? Anything you want to throw out?
I just thought it was perfect. And black people are not apes, okay? Just so you know, Al Green or whatever the hell the guy's name is. I mean, what the hell was that about? Like, that was just so out of left field. But no, it was a masterclass. And you're right. Rdoc was right. He didn't touch on a couple of things. I'm very surprised he didn't, but maybe I shouldn't be, because I don't know. We kind of told in the drops that he would be separate from this stuff, but yeah, he didn't really mention any of that. As we have, which I'm sure we'll cover, people all around the world seeming to starting to go down everywhere except for here. We'll see how that works out, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was a great speech. Absolutely great.
I got some video from inside Congress here, how it was working out right here.
Oh, no.
You could train a monkey to vote, I think, right?
Those are chimpanzees, not monkeys, and not apes.
Yeah, whatever. You can get anywhere you want to. But just to throw this into context, we could have a State of the Union like this, guys. I want everybody to think about that for a good 30 seconds here. This is the State of the Union we could have had. So no matter how bad you think that Trump's doing and the left is burning it down and everybody's crazy and all these Epstein connections and Trump the pedophile protector, all that shit, we could have still had this. So I'm still happy with the position we're at. Thoughts?
Dude, if that was the case, I would be in probably Siberia or or in CCOT. We'd probably all be in CCOT, really.
With the other 150,000 Americans that have left the country, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean,
the numbers released.
But again, right? I mean, I can't say this enough. Like, over her shoulder, you got Tim Walz. Who the hell is this guy? And if I was ever running for an election, he would be about the bottom 2% of anybody I would ever pick to help me win an election. So I thought that was pretty funny.
They needed money. Just don't forget that.
Yeah.
That's where they got all the money from.
They got plenty. Oh yeah, plenty of money from fraud. But I mean, every state's doing it, and that's going to be small potatoes when you start looking at the rest of the fraud. Your state is probably going to dwarf these guys. Like, going to make it look like Little League.
Yeah. So how did the news play on the group that was obviously running the White House and the State of the Union? This is the way they think it went right here. That's what they're thinking is going down because the criminals are in charge right now. They're going to do the State of the Union.
Yeah,
Marco gets another job.
Exactly, dude.
I like the Adidas tracksuit. It looks good on him. It's nice.
Is that a Megadeth? What is that? What's that?
Close enough. Yeah, Megadeth. Iron Maiden. Either way.
Iron Maiden.
Just wanted to throw some of the funnies out there. But what did the news take out? I picked up a couple of clips just out of the back end here. And we're going to start off with this one here about the CNN, what the direction of the company or country is going.
Among speech watchers tonight, 64% say his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech from their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself. And that 64% number, that's pretty much in range across all of his State of the Union addresses. In his first term, last year, the joint session, that's about what we've seen. Is roughly 2/3 have walked away from his speeches thinking he's going to move it in the right direction.
So a lot of red meat for the base.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If you're a Republican on the ballot in 2026, I think you leave this speech being as happy as you could possibly be, that he sort of stuck to the script on the economy, he gave red meat to the base on immigration, and they can leave the hall tonight and sort of take that out on the campaign trail.
Why are we getting into meat? Anyways,
it's not just the base. It's not just the base either. That's 64%. I mean, who knows what their Citigroup mix was, but let's just say it was like a 51-49 split or something like that. That's 64%. That's more than just a base feeding the base. That's Democrats and independents also agreeing that
watching CNN.
Yeah.
As all. That's not NBC, CBS, or any of those things. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, dude, the fact that we see that video at all, that the fact that they broadcasted that video at all, like, you would not have seen that 6 years ago. They would not put anything positive for him out there. And the fact that they're essentially advertising pro-Trump here on CNN now, of all places.
Almost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, you would not see that 6 years. There's no way you see that video 6 years ago. They would have just talked about something else, how orange his skin was or something like that.
Oh, just to throw it out there, the twins over there, they were yelling KKK when they were saying USA. Some people were doing some lip reading out there, and yeah, they were totally going against what the president was saying. Tron, you want to read some of these for me? These clouds here, what they were actually saying?
There we go, guys. Cartoons finest, Screeching Witches and Tim McBride, poor guy. My balls itch comes from a lib. I forget her name. Incest is best. That's that brother lover, Omar. And Talib says ISIS is forever. So we have Minnesota represented. We have the transgender community, and the way the camera panned to her when it went to Somali pirates. Excellent cinematography. I love this. And again, they don't have much of a team anymore, guys. The vocal ones are the ones that are the least popular. This is winning. And again, call them out as we see them. This is the enemy, and no chance come November of 26, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Quick funny, you ready?
These retards, they won't stand. They stand for shit, literally.
Oh, no.
Wow,
No.
Matthew, that must have felt better than winning the gold medal.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Yes, we are making fun of it. We are totally making fun of it. Just to throw it out here, just Rep. Omar, State of the Union guest, refusing to sit and block during the president's speech. She was escorted here. She's also a protester here, too, and this is her getting arrested also for defiance of ICE officers or whatnot. But they decided to go and bring her over, and she was also escorted out of the State of the Union. So, yeah, great choices on some of the people they're bringing in. Of course, Trump went crazy. Tron, you want to read a little bit of that really quick?
There we go, guys, from Boss. When you watch low IQ Omar and Rashida Tlaib as they screamed uncontrollably last night at the very elegant State of the Union, such an important and beautiful event. They had the bulging, bloodshot eyes of crazy people, lunatics, mentally deranged and sick, who frankly look like they should be institutionalized. When people can behave like that and knowing that they are crooked and corrupt politicians so bad for our country, we should send them back from where they came from as fast as possible. They can only damage the United States of America. They can do nothing to help it. They should actually get on a boat with Trump deranged Robert De Niro, another sick and demented person with, I believe, an extremely low IQ who has absolutely no idea what he is doing or saying, some of which is seriously criminal. When I watched him break down in tears last night, much like a child would do, I realized that he may be even sicker than crazy Rosie O'Donnell, who is right now in Ireland trying to figure out how to come back into our beautiful United States. The only difference between De Niro and Rosie is that she is probably somewhat smarter than him, which isn't saying much. The good news is that America is now bigger, better, richer, stronger than ever before and is driving them absolutely crazy. President Donald J. Trump, boom.
Yeah, we do like him putting in there a little bit. I like the meme to the left a little bit on there.
So the De Niro thing made the news over here in Europe as a pretty big deal. What's going on there? Is Trump threatening to deport him or something?
No. He was just doing the anti-Trump type of thing and crying and doing the whole Adam Kiddings here type of thing. Did you know Robert De Niro spending $1 billion on building a Hollywood studio over the next 8 years? Kind of old, kind of weird. I don't understand why'd you build that.
I don't know. Over here, the media is reporting that Donald Trump and the administration is actively working to have him deported and have his citizenship removed.
I'd have to check.
That sounds like European fake news. That's something that Leo would
it could be.
And I'd have to tell him,
This is not not fake news. Fetterman in a suit. We got evidence here. I just want to prove that it's not wearing kick it shorts and a hoodie. He's actually come out dressed. Just to put that out there. Here's the one photo you were talking about.
Black people rent eight, guys. They rent them on Zillow. Yep, they go on Verbo. They go on all those Airbnbs, and they rent. Apparently, you go to the zoo, you can just bring one home. I guess you rent one.
Yes, that is absolutely great. Just to throw this out, Tron, read that at the top.
Breaking Geico caveman tired of people mistaking him for Congressman Al Green. Dude, I made that joke. This is funny. They stole my meme from my show on the other day. But I'm not going to make any comments, but we all know where that's going.
So easy, even caveman can do it. Here's some interesting facts.
Even Al Green can do it.
Exactly. Want to throw this out here really quick. You can win 223 electoral college votes without showing ID, almost POTUS without actually voting with U.S. citizenship. Look at all those numbers: California, New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New Jersey, MA. Was that Massachusetts? Yeah, just crazy. I just thought that was crazy. You get to 223. All the ones that don't take voter ID. We'll see how well that turns out there. What did the Dems do? Well, they always do the anti-deal. So we had this person basically talking about how they wrote the speech with AI slop and basically not fact-checking and whatnot here. So they gave this side. But some of this strange shit, and Tron, I got some stuff to show you. I don't know where to put any of this stuff here. What the F is with frogs, dude?
Yeah, guys, these are the frogs that we see in Portland, and this is like their mascot. So out of all the animals they choose, instead of apes, they go with these frogs, and we know Chatelet, Pepe, all that fun stuff.
And they gathered in
Why
Washington.
why frogs, dude?
They like to dress up. They like to be weird. They like to go to parties where they do this kind of thing, and this is how they get off. And the fact that De Niro went to this thing, at first I thought this was fake. At first I'm like, this is some children's event, you know? But no, the Dems had a counter State of the Union. They had some Randy Macho Man Savage Intimidator come out, even Acosta's low-level energy, and there it is, wearing a Pepe the Frog. And of all the animals, guys, they have to mimic, why the frog? It almost seems like a controlled operation. Wink, wink.
They can't take the frog from us.
Yeah, just to throw this, they even had this.
I'm fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis.
You know who that is, right?
I've been a...
No, I don't, but they dressed him as a giraffe that threw him out on stage. Who is he?
That's the tough guy who said, "Oh, I'm right here, Bondi, come arrest me." And then she did.
Well, good. So the Dem side, I don't know what the hell they're pandering to. I mean, little kids or something, play school. I mean, it makes sense if you were into sort of things like that, trying to get your base up to vote for you. Yeah, that's what, dude. I don't absolutely get it. This is crazy that Jim Acosta is wearing a Pepe the Frog hat. I don't know where to put it. Here's the last little clip. This is 100% real. This is not fake.
This is the moment. This is the reason that she came here to the United States, to speak truth to power, to explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here, and to press this country to the border. I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey Murphy, you're a scumbag. Thanks, man.
You're a scumbag.
Hey Murphy, you're a scumbag.
This is the.
So we like peaceful protest. This is absolutely perfect. If you can get out in front of the cameras and be nice and not use any bad language, scumbags, okay. I endorse this message 100%. I'm going to do a quick history lesson for you. I found it. I got to show you it. Might as well just go there. What would it look like, guys? What would it look like? Here we go.
What up, America? It's Andrew Jackson, that guy you roll up to hit some powder. I founded the Democrat Party and chose the jackass as our mascot. Now, as you can probably tell, times have changed a bit from the party back in my day, and present-day Democrats will come to hate me, but that's your problem. Jackson started the Democrat Party to appeal to the common man. Democrats today sometimes give him credit for that, but only after calling him an evil white bigot. Needless to say, the party started off pretty sketchy by today's standards. We were by far the pro-slavery party all the way through the Civil War. After the war, we cleaned up our act and supported the North's Reconstruction efforts. Totally kidding, we doubled down on racism and became the party of the Klan. But seriously, we didn't have much of a platform after the war, except Jim Crow, but that was until our boy came in hot on his rollerblades. Then came the Depression. People lost trust in markets, so I wheeled in to drastically expand communism across the country, and Democrats been hooked ever since. Up until this point, blacks had always voted Republican as they were the party that freed the slaves. But after FDR's New Deal, blacks swung 75% Democrat. This was a complete realignment, not because of civil rights, but because of economics. All while the Democrats were still the party of the Klan, and their stronghold was the South. We pushed segregation throughout the South and filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act for 75 days. It wasn't until Republicans stepped up and found even more votes to pass the bill. So ask yourself, how are Democrats seen as the party of the civil rights? Well, it's because
Democrats are very persuasive. But again, it ultimately boils down to economic incentives. Once Democrats realize the power of government spending and handouts, you can appeal to any voter group and lock them in.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Gays for Palestine.
Oh, my goodness.
Good luck with that. So anyway, to sum it all up, my party has changed a shit ton, but it's not because of the mythical party switch. Democrats controlled the South all the way through the 1990s. But they did adopt new policies like massive social spending and welfare programs that allowed them to appeal to more diverse voting groups.
All right, there's your little history lesson out there.
Wow.
Even some Monica Lewinsky in there. We're going to drop that for everybody down there because you're asking for it, and I'll just potpourri it around here, and I'll get around to each one of you guys so you guys can have it. So little history lesson I like to throw out there, make sure everybody's on the same page of where the Democrats actually showed up. And I think this is my
that's
last
fake.
one.
You guys know that, right? That's fake. And whenever you tell people that, especially Democrats, they always say, oh, no, that's all made up. It's like, of course, everything's made up because you guys don't do your own damn research.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it looks like we got a letter because the Clintons were going to be going over and doing some testimony or whatnot, closed door testimony at their house. I think they're in Chappaqua or whatever. It didn't burn down. They don't have to worry about the server in the closet or anything like that. And opening statement is basically where she's at. I wasn't going to deal with it or even read it. Like to leak out some of these photos over here. I think it was Anna Paul Luna, you were telling me, Rdoc, who leaked the first photo over there, which means
wait.
This popcorn girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom of the picture.
Obert did. So which means
girl in the cinema. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And the gay guy, Benny Johnson, the homo, the closet homo. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't tell anybody. But they paused it for for an hour or so and then went back and did testimony. So they completed the testimony with Hillary. There were no issues, and then obviously she gave press conference
zoom in
after.
on that face.
I got some of these for you. We got these. They're here.
No, that's not as good as the other one.
Here, so right here, just hold on a second. Here we go.
Look, Mrs. Clinton, we don't want to be here all day either. So just tell us how you killed Mr. Epstein, and we can all go home, okay? I mean, everyone knows you killed him. Just tell us how you did it.
Okay, look. I knew the guards were asleep. So I took the keys, I turned off the cameras, I went into Jeffrey Epstein's cell, and I saw him sleeping. So I just grabbed one of his shirts and I choked him with it. He kind of woke up, but I actually think he enjoyed it because he was smiling as I was choking him, which was kind of strange. But anyway, I made it look like a suicide and I got back home just in time for dinner.
Look, Mrs.
Funnies? Yeah, funnies.
We're all going to have to sign into the internet with our iris, fingerprint, and face scan because of this. It's enjoyable, it's fun, but I'm telling you right now, this is the target. And Candace Owen, with what she's doing, is going to be another target, not by design or by design. And this is something we have to fight. Our internet, our internet free speech and whatnot, our artistic integrity. Say that 3 times, but it looks real. This is how scary it is. And I'm telling you guys, gotta watch it. Gotta watch this AI stuff, man.
Wait, we'll do one more.
And that was AI, and these are AI, and they are fake, just for anybody that's wondering.
Did your husband fly to Epstein Island to party buck naked with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates and his ugly ass titties? Yes or no? Not going to answer any questions, huh? Okay, let's try this one. Did you kill Jeffrey Epstein and made it look like a suicide, just like you did with the other 200 or so associates around you and your husband that mysteriously died? I mean, one of them shot himself 3 times in the back, Mrs. Clinton. Now, how is that even humanly possible?
AI is getting way too good here. And, Tron, you had brought up something that I've been thinking about, and I don't know exactly what to do it as a little quick side story here. I don't know where to put the whole Charlie Kirk and the wife and Candace Owens and the rest of the Connie kind of crap. They're all fighting with each other. I don't know where to put any of that shit, to be honest with you. She comes out with evidence. They discredit it. They point fingers back and forth to each other. I don't know where to put it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it's okay not to have a certain stance in one part. We like Charlie. We love Charlie for what he did with our youth, bringing them to God and having them wake up. And then the aftermath of how everything happened. And you guys have to realize that we've been through so much that we don't want to be fooled anymore. We've seen this magic trick 1,000 times. And sometimes we just have to go to from point A to point Z with nothing in between. And everything that went down that day with Charlie was absolutely crazy. And to have, Kash Patel come out and Dan Bongino. But again, nothing is as it seems. And it's going to get even wilder. And the fact that Candace Owens is going on her own little conspiracy theory tour, blah, blah, blah. Again, giving you a 20% truth, 80% fiction. You got to kind of be careful. And these people will be used as examples. It's almost like they took the rhetoric of like 4 or 5 years ago during the Q movement. We had a lot of nice decodes and whatnot, but there was always those outlandish, theories of JFK Jr. being alive. That's not Hillary Clinton. That's not Joe Biden. And now we seem to kind of leap to like the ultimate level of, you can't fool us anymore. So we just got to kind of be careful. We got to kind of just take, 48-hour rule now turns into like, 48, week rule. It just keeps going. But I think the simulation is falling on itself, and every situation is, approached with extreme scrutiny right now. And that's a good thing. I think that's a great thing. So keep on charging, keep on researching, and when something doesn't seem right, just be vocal about it right now.
Exactly.
File it under Mossad operation.
Pretty much. What else do we got for you? Oh, I want to throw this thing out over here. Tron, read this for everybody.
Guys, Lutnick in hot water. Here we go. Trump confronted Lutnick at Mar-a-Lago over the holidays over how much money Lutnick's sons were making, and cabinet members and senior White House officials weary of his brash and controlling style. Quote, no one's allowed to talk to the interagency without Howard's given explicit approval. He's developed reputation for jumping into deals with little expertise and not enforcing follow-through with companies and countries on the $18 trillion in pledged investments. One example, the Department of Energy had spent months negotiating a nuclear reactor deal with Westinghouse when Lutnick arrived and began negotiating directly with Westinghouse instead, catching Energy Secretary Chris Wright by surprise. Yeah.
So this is coming out from Politico. So just as an FYI.
I'm hearing this as well. Lutnick and Trump had a shouting match, and because and Susie Wiles was pissed because of the Lutnick kids deal. She is supposed to be the gatekeeper, and she was not happy.
I agree with that. We're going to get to a little bit of her a little bit later as we start talking about these things. So over here at Comer, it says House Chair James Comer might bring in Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick for deposition for congressional probe into Epstein. That's a very possibility. Will be likely arise in questioning. So he says it's not about Democrats. So he might be basically come on in, start asking questions. So we'll see what's happening with that. And obviously Trump's not very happy with these groups about bringing out the Epstein files, even though later he signed the paperwork says to release it. So that's going down there. What else do we got over here? So Space Shot, read this for everybody. Just weird shit that I'm finding in these files. Just want to throw it out.
And regarding Lutnick, never forget 9/11. Nick Bryant says, here's an email from Mark Epstein to his brother Jeffrey. Mark's in the market for a gynecologist, and he asks his brother for the name of the gynecologist who Jeffrey kept, quote, in business single-handedly. Oh, my goodness. Mark even acknowledges that his brother had, quote, victims. Mark Epstein was the recipient of his brother's largesse, which included an apartment building on 66th Street that housed some of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. But yet, he's never had to forfeit assets. He was also the vice chairman of a rather strange NGO, Humpty Dumpty Institute. Humpty Dumpty? Like, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know where to put it, but we do remember the brother saying that I had no idea that he was doing any of this stuff. And then he's asking Epstein here in 2012, hey, what's that gynecologist thing that you kept in business? Because for your victims, I need that number. Do you have that? Another thing floating around in here, I really don't need to figure out exactly what happened, but evidently Epstein had his prostate removed, and then later, years later, they're saying that he had one slightly diffused and enlarged and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people are asking if he actually regrew his prostate, even though he testified earlier in there that it's been removed and all those sort of things. And after he's getting tested with it, and there's a whole bunch of other weird shit in there, dude.
So are you saying that it may not have been Epstein in the autopsy?
That's exactly where we're getting to.
Dude,
we're getting close to that. Here, before we get there,
read
this. What's that?
Did you see the end of the thing where it said his testes were unremarkable? I just thought it was
yes,
right there. The testes are unremarkable.
So I don't know what to say exactly there of what's going on there. Here, read that for everybody because there's some fallout.
All right, Nick Sorter, Harvard's Larry Summers is resigning from the university following revelations he had a super close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein mere months before Epstein's death. The files show Summers was consulting with Epstein on soliciting a romantic relationship with one of Summers' mentees in 2019. Summers was a vocal opponent of Donald Trump in 2016, doing everything he could to block him from the presidency. Now we know why.
He was former Treasury Secretary,
yep,
right?
Under Obama. So I thought that was interesting. Here, you can read this for everybody, Mr. Space Shot 2.
The whole thing there. Bill Gates apologized to foundation staff over Epstein ties. Billionaire admitted. Okay. Bill Gates apologized to staff of the Gates Foundation over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, admitting he made mistakes that had cast a cloud over the philanthropic group, while insisting he didn't participate in Epstein's crimes. In a town hall on Tuesday, the Microsoft co-founder acknowledged that he had 2 affairs with Russian women that Epstein later discovered, but that they didn't involve Epstein's victims. Okay. Quote, I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit, Gates said, according to a recording reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Gates says images in the recently released Epstein files show him, blah, blah, blah. Quote, it was a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein and bring Gates Foundation executives into meetings with the sex offender. Gates said, quote, I apologize to other people who are drawn into this because of the mistake that I made. What about the drugs and the wife?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking about when he's writing this whole letter out, but doesn't have to step down. Don't worry about that. He's protected, and the whole Peter Thiel and the rest of the guys. Who knows what's going to happen with that group and that control. Do want to throw this out here really quick because this is an interesting little topic came out this week too. We're just going to get a little bit of this.
So that's possible espionage and a blackmail situation. Why is the prosecutor saying that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered?
Well,
why are they calling that a murder?
So this came out in the release of the files from the 2019 side of when they were going through this, and the assistant prosecutor, when they were looking at, trying to figure out who they're going to charge for the death of Epstein, which was nobody. They were saying this dude was killed. That's where this paperwork coming out. That's what this guy is saying. That's the prosecutor going against Epstein at the time of 2018-19 area. So just wanted to throw that stuff out there. I thought that was interesting. Things that I haven't had a chance to check into, seeking comments of Jerry Epstein's secret storage lockers. He also has some online stuff that they're also finding here. So he has a lot of files that were stored in the cloud itself. And there's 6 or 8 storage lockers with more information that was in there that hasn't been released yet. So another 14 terabytes worth of stuff they have to go through before it gets released out. And this is not including the recent group of documents that they said that they found, and then that might be not misgendered, but mischecked for secret or whatever. So they're going to basically DOJ is going to reinvestigate itself and then release the paperwork out that it thinks it should get that it didn't give out before. So that's happening.
So the FBI, under the former director of the FBI before the Trump administration came in, did a piss poor job of, evaluating and making sure they had all the files, right?
Secret pairs hide out somewhere. I haven't checked into it. Some little pieces that I thought was interesting. Now this is interesting. Mr. Space Shot, read this at the top.
Alrighty. Jeffrey Epstein told that he should buy his family's palace back. Gustav Ritter von Epstein inherited 10 million gulden, euros 100 million, founded Epstein Bank and built Palais Epstein. Allegedly, he lost his wealth in a market crash, closed Epstein Bank, and sold the palace. What?
Yeah.
Never heard of this. Wow.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting here. So somebody sending it up because I found your ancestry where this bank is, or this gentleman who started this particular bank in this area, and then he lost it when the crash happened in the 30s. So he had to sell out everything. But they're talking about how he has heritage over there. So I thought that was interesting.
Isn't this amazing that, back in the day, 2018, 2019, we're digging. We didn't see any of this stuff anywhere. And then all of a sudden, boss is in the Epstein files. Yeah, release the files. It's a hoax. And then all this treasure trove of information is available to us. I mean, this is amazing. This is an accomplishment. This is digging. This is right here for us. And their little check action there. Boom.
Yeah. Epstein was the most oldest and powerful of the families in Prague. So his real name is Jeffrey Ritter von Epstein. So yeah, I just thought it was
Polak the whole time. He's a Polak, huh?
Yeah. Wow. What else is over here? Oh yes. Tron, read this really quick. We'll go on to the next one.
Guys, right there, breaking. CBS News uncovers a bombshell 69-page DEA memo hidden in the Epstein files detailing a 5-year federal probe into Epstein for wire transfers linked to illicit drug and or prostitution activities in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York. Launched in 2010 and still ongoing in 2015, it tracked $50 million in shady transfers to accounts in Switzerland, France, Cayman Islands, and New York. Memos names 14 other redacted targets. Shocker. It exposes new Epstein-linked probes, ICE investigations in West Palm Beach, Las Vegas, Paris, plus an FBI case from 2006, active through 2015. Insane twist. SDNY prosecutors who nabbed Epstein in 2019 claim they never knew about the DEA investigations. It goes deep. Wow, man.
Now, whose names do you think are under the redaction?
Miss Comey. Yeah, she would be number one over there, I think, in my opinion over there. Other pieces that are falling out here. Here, you could read this one too, Tron, really quick. I just thought it was interesting. Pieces coming out.
Check it. A 2010 Clinton investigation or Clinton Foundation email showing that Smartmatic allegedly rigged the elections in Haiti and the Philippines. The communication was done through a third person, because BC Bill Clinton couldn't engage or talk to them about anything to do with elections directly. The SGO, Smartmatic executive, and 3 others are also facing DOJ charges amid allegations of election contract bribes, paying $1 million in bribes to the Philippines' top election official. One Smartmatic official fled the Philippines to Texas as a fugitive to evade prosecution. New allegations against Smartmatic executive and company's voting machine contract with LA County. The U.S. government is seeking to show a pattern of corruption among Smartmatic executives that allegedly involves bribes and money laundering. New court filing shows prosecutors say one of the executives of the voting machine company transferred an undisclosed amount from the $282 million LA County contract into the slush funds in 2019. The patterns don't lie. Smartmatic is corrupt and engaged in a massive fraud allegations. This is the great awakening that elections are being stolen in every county, country, and not just the United States. And guys, Boss said this 1,000 times. International appeal also helping in stealing our elections. And this is why we have Maduro on lockdown. This is why HRC is also under the microscope. Haiti, Philippines, much more to come. Much more to come, man.
So remember, this is active investigation right here. Remember, this is still ongoing and hasn't been finalized. Go ahead.
Do you have in your show drops anything related to Trump's comments related to China and election interference?
No, I kind of left that alone because I haven't put enough sauce on it.
I didn't pick it up either, but it is an ongoing investigation. He made the comment the other day, and the media is picking it up over here as that Trump is going to use an emergency order to take control of the elections.
There's a pre-released or leaked memo, 17-page memo that had been leaking. The news is talking about what he is going to say about said election issues, from everything from Dominion to Venezuela. But again, I don't know if it's hearsay. They could be lying. I'm not sure where to put it.
Supposedly, there's evidence that China was involved in election interference in 2020 in the United States, and so that in the Smartmatic stuff and everything like that, it's laying the groundwork for the election interference claim and claiming an emergency order to stop the elections until it can be cleaned up.
Well, good luck with that one. I'm not sure how well that's going to go. Tron, here's another one for you.
FBI investigated Susie Wiles and Kash Patel phone records, secretly recording Wiles' conversations with her lawyer in 2022 and 2023. According to media reports and statements from FBI Director Kash Patel, and both Patel and Wiles both had their telephone records subpoenaed by FBI in 2002 and 2023, when both were private citizens. This is during the time when Trump was being investigated by special counsel Jack Smith. Within the reporting by Reuters, at least one phone call between Susie Wiles and her attorney was recorded by the FBI without her knowledge. As the story is outlined, Wiles' attorney was working with the FBI and knew the conversation was being captured. Wiles did not. Kash Patel had reportedly fired 10 FBI agents who were involved in the process of reviewing and intercepting communications as part of their work on the Jack Smith case. Internal FBI offices are not happy with Patel's action against those.
So the big thing about this thing is when they say Susie Wiles' attorney, the attorney knew that they were being monitored and didn't tell the client. The FBI contacted the attorney, says, we're going to monitor. You're going to follow this script. We want her to answer these particular questions, and didn't tell Susie Wiles.
Well, two things related to that. He should be disbarred because client confidentiality in those discussions would normally be privileged. However, in certain states, there are laws that say, okay, both parties must be informed if the call is being recorded. In other states, it's only one party consent, and so it's interesting to see how this thing went down.
So I don't know where to put it.
And the why? There's got to be a why behind it.
Well, we already have seen this before. Tron, read that for everybody from August 1st, 2025.
From Danny Scabs, August 1st of 2025. Imagine patriotically and proudly serving in the first Trump White House for 4 years and departing in January of 2021. Then, during the 4 years, you're out. Biden lawfare kicks in and you receive the below email 5 weeks before re-entering the White House again in January 2025. Here it is. Quote, Google received and responded to a legal process issued by the Federal Bureau of Investigation compelling the release of information related to your Google account. A court order previously prohibited Google from notifying you of the legal process. Dan says, I've never shared this, but this is a small taste of the insanity that many of us went through right here in the United States of America. Lawfare at its finest, a complete and total disgrace. If they can do that to Dan, Susie Wiles, Kash Patel, Boss, and a slew of others, imagine the list they have on us, man. I want to see those files.
Well, that's what the Anthropic Palantir thing's all about.
Mm-hmm.
They have been doing it. And so what's interesting here is the Democrats have already said that if they get back in control, that it's going to be revenge politics, just like Susie Wiles admitted in that interview way back when that she was upset because the revenge process took longer than 90 days or something like that.
I did hear the same thing over there. Ran by this also. This is new, coming out just a couple of days ago.
I can't believe what I found since I've been in this department. I just found the other day a whole room on this campus that was a secret SCIF, secure facility that had files nobody knew existed. So we just happened to have an employee walk by a door and wonder what it was and started asking questions. We went in there. There was individuals working there that had secret files that nobody knew about on some of these most controversial topics like that. And now I've got that turned over to attorneys and we're getting to the bottom of what exactly happened there. You know, we have CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection. They know every traveler that comes into this country, every good that comes in. They're the ones who assess and collect all of the tariffs. But the information that they had on travelers that came in during COVID, what are national labs, which I also have national labs under my jurisdiction. They're scientists that participated with that Wuhan lab, how they were traveling back and forth between each other and working on those experiments. It's been eye-opening. And I'll tell you, Patrick, even from the time I came into this office, it was, Elon and his team were extremely helpful to me. They helped me identify that some of my own employees in my department had downloaded software on my phone and my laptop to spy on me.
Stop it.
To record our meetings.
Wow.
They had done that to several of the politicals.
Wow.
And so we ended up bringing in people and that was something that if you didn't have those technology experts here in the department looking at all of our laptops and our phones and recognizing that kind of software, it would still be happening today. So one of the things I need to do and continue to do is partner with technology companies. And
so, more burn bags, more offices with people working on data that nobody else in the government has. And she started asking questions about it and then also revealed that Elon Musk helped her weed out some of the spyware software that the department had put on her particular people. So this is getting pretty bad, guys, as it gets worse. Crazy? I think it's crazy.
Yeah, spying on department heads and you wondering where they're getting those orders. Is it the SES, the Senior Executive Service folks? Clearly, it's not good people.
Yeah, it's not. What else is going around in the news? They brought this back up again from a couple of years ago about the Bohemian Grove members allegedly leak. Conan O'Brien, Michael Bloomberg, we got Eric Schmidt, Paul Pelosi, Jimmy Buffett, blah, 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 a whole bunch of people. Why they're bringing this back up again, I'm not really sure, but that came out from the New York Times. They're recycling that thing again. Cool little meme I thought would work out for you guys. What do you think? You think this works? Kind of explains that whole situation we're watching.
Yeah.
All at the top,
like
bro.
that.
It's pretty cool. So I'm going to drop this out there for everybody in case you're wondering how the whole list of thing works. This would be a good thing to show, pop out on social media so everybody else gets a little piece of that. We got more to show you here. Let me get this in there.
Actors like Woody Harrelson. Oh,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Here, you can read that, Mr. Rdoc, read that.
Yeah, I got this one. Holy fuck. Oh, sorry. Oops. Holy frick. Thorbjørn Jørgensen award Obama the Nobel Peace Prize has been named to be in the Epstein files. 3 of his properties were just raided, faces a minimum of 10 years in prison. FAFO. They demanded the Epstein files be released and other ones in them, and he was just admitted to as an attempted suicide.
Oh, that's the guy. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
He'll have more on that one later.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. That's the ex-prime minister. And then, but there's another individual that was involved in the Peace Prize process, the Nobel Peace Prize process, that is named in the. So I wonder if this person confused two different people.
Yeah,
there's another one.
Space Shot. Read that one for everybody.
Harvey Weinstein hires lawyers of Luigi Mangione, Sean Diddy Combs for upcoming trial. Interesting. He's got another trial coming? Jeez.
Oh, yeah. He had one in L.A. and New York. So he's in New York right now because he's got to face charges in New York in case anybody was keeping.
So long.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. Okay, another interesting thing, which I find interesting. Here, Space Shot, read that for everybody.
Sure. Fulton County officials falsely claimed no ballots existed four times in response to requests by elections watchdog Voter GA for copies of 2020 ballots, yet the ballots it asked for, quote, were the same 2020 ballots that the FBI seized on January 28th, 2026 at the Fulton County Elections Hub and Warehouse in Fairburn, Georgia. Noted Voter GA founder Garland Favorito.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective, because remember, they had like 3 or 4 court orders, plus the DOJ wanted to step in as being an arbiter for it, but none of that stuff worked. Nobody wanted to show their paperwork out there because they cheated. So just wanted to throw that thing out there. What else do we got here? Oh, read that for everybody, Mr. Space Shot. That's why I have this in order.
Just days after Senator John Thune said there was no time to debate and vote on the SAVE Act, it was revealed that senators held a dog parade inside the chamber, bringing their pets in for photos and celebration instead of moving forward on the election bills. Dog comms, who's about to die?
Well, and again, it was outside. That was the fact check. So they're outside of the Senate deal, but they're still in the building, but they're not in the Senate. So just in case you're keeping score, that's how the news was fact checking everybody out there. Here's another one you could read for everybody.
It's just ridiculous, too. How the SAVE Act died today. We have a 53-47 in the majority in the Senate. Tom Tillis not running for re-election. Mitch McConnell not running for re-election. John Curtis, Utah, is really a Democrat, but ran as a Republican. Lisa Murkowski has never been reliable. Absolutely not.
Blue
Add
slip
John
failure.
Cornyn to that list.
Yeah, that too.
John Cornyn may be out.
Hopefully. Isn't that Ken Paxton he's running against?
Oh,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So again, we are not going to get blue slip. They didn't make it out of committee. Blue slip's not going to work, blah, blah. They're not going to touch the filibuster and all those sort of things. Another very interesting things to pay attention to. I thought this was very, very, very interesting here. Space Shot, read that first part right there.
Breaking bombshell dossier details sweeping corruption, no crap, by Illinois Democrat J.B. Pritzker, including quid pro quo deals, fraud, lawfare, bankrolling a convicted felon, ignoring child abuse reports, and ties to what family? The Epstein family. You guessed it. Wow.
He's not the only Pritzker that's had to step down. Another one had to step down who's in running Hyatt.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the Hyatt one over there on the other side. Thank you for reminding me on that side. So interesting thing, because this is Rob Blagojevich, the one that was the governor who went to jail and all those sort of things, and he's in here too. Space Shot, read this right here.
Absolutely. The bottom part?
Yep.
He and Blagojevich discussed various horse trading scenarios that would benefit the governor. During the same November 6th, my birthday, 2008 conversation, the two discussed one possibility. Perhaps Blagojevich should follow Obama's wishes and pick the president-elect's friend, Valerie Jarrett, for the Senate seat. Quote, the only reason to do it is if he'll appoint you something, Pritzker advised the governor. Ooh, how about that?
Interesting.
Blagojevich got shafted and went to jail for years. That's funny.
Yeah, he's the only one that went to jail on the whole thing. So this is going to get interesting if they're going to go down this rabbit hole. I don't know where to put it, but little pieces that you should be pointing out and paying attention to. So that was good. What else do we got here? Oh, Judge Adley Cannon permanently blocks the release of the special counsel Jack Smith's report. Told him to pound sand, you're not going to get any of it. It is all made up. So that is a permanent decision over here. Couple of little pieces we're going to get into. You guys all heard about the truck driver killed in the Florida speedboat by the Cuban guards. Fell into the obsessive diabolical quest to freedom of Cuba. So yeah, they went over there with a whole bunch of loaded guns and tried to break into Cuba and take out the communist leader. They were mostly all killed. There's only like 4 or 6 survivors, but these are the guys right here. They pictures of them buying guns. So they're going to go save Cuba.
Que yo sé manipularla, sé limpiarla. Esto como madera, eso se parte.
So they were prepared and they reaped the rewards of that one. So they won. What else do we got? We want to show you here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it sounds like they were American, like the way you read it, and then it's like, no, they come to go get them of their own people, apparently.
Yep. Yeah. Another interesting thing here, found the FBI arrested a former U.S. Air Force major who spent 26 months in Beijing training Chinese fighter pilots. Almost 2 years over there. He came back and basically they arrested him. So they were basically giving him information and how to attack a C-120, F-22, F-35s, basically training him how to fight against American pilots. And he got busted just a couple of days after coming back. So that did happen out there. So yeah. Now this one is interesting. Space Shot, read this for everybody.
Okie dokie. Homeland Security News update. Undersecretary of Tourism Planning Simone Levy dropped a bombshell when explaining why they went after El Mencho. Quote, Scheinbaum was warned that if joint operations weren't allowed, U.S. military forces would enter Mexico. She agreed because they put 2 things on the table for her. The statement from Mayo Zambada, where he clearly states that Scheinbaum received massive amounts of money from the Sinaloa cartel and also from El Mencho for her campaign. The Trump administration gave her an ultimatum. Allow joint operations against cartels or U.S. will launch its own operations against cartels in Mexico. Love it.
So the list has come out by the politicians that were supposedly paid off. That's one of them that were coming out. Some of the different areas. Basically, it's the whole thing. They run 20% of the company, and the cartels run the other 80% of the country itself. Yeah.
The latest on this is El Mencho is not going away. They've already reconstituted, got new leadership, and
we'll find out where. Here's some more stuff for you. Here's her all dressed up, being supported by the cartels.
That's what the makeup.
We're gonna let that soak in for a minute as we keep going.
That's with the makeup off. That's cover up. A lot of cover up every day for her.
Yep. So breaking: Mexican Marines capture El Hacha, a Texicali crime boss linked to Mencho. We also picked up. How do you say this guy's name?
Coracio.
Marta.
The cockroach.
Yep.
So he was a leader in trade to Nicaragua, coordinated shipments of narco speedboats to the United States, Central America, and Europe. So they're supposedly picking up these big guys over here. They even got El Peter was captured, lieutenant of the gang at Apacado. I don't make him up.
Ever.
El Peter.
You got the worst name.
When I get on the bad side of El Peter.
Richard.
What else did we pick up? Yeah, El Lexus. How about El Lexus and the Gulf leaders of some other raids?
Don't say too much. Our notifications on Amazon might be reordering our Tide Pods soon.
So they are going to town over here. Who else did they pick up over here? 3 inmates who allegedly helped escape 23 prisoners. So we saw the video of the guards dead out in front of the jail out there. They went and found the 3 guys and did the whole helicopter thing, and they're going to prosecute those guys for breaking out the people out of the local jail. So I see Scheinbaum and the military doing what they're supposed to. How deep they go, and do they leave the new generation alone and take out the old guard and leave the new generation up? I don't know. I don't know what the ultimatum is. They were even attacking the mayor of Mexico itself. They killed their 35-year-old son in this particular attack. So, I mean, there are bad things happening to politicians. People are dying itself. But stuff is still moving around. Mexico and El Salvador seized 17 tons of cocaine worth $1 billion in the single largest drug bust.
Did it come from Venezuela?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't follow that deep into it.
No, it did.
Those damn fishing boats.
Pounds, guys.
Yeah, and the other thing is meet the rumored the cartel boss at California from Orange County, California, saying it's this guy who's going to be the new leader.
He looks like Mohammed Atta, the 9/11 hijacker. They're running out of pictures, man.
They just keep recycling it.
Right?
And then this happened in Mexico. I don't know where to put this. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, it's the volcano in the shape of Terminator Part 2.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. So it's a mud volcano that exploded. So they're saying it's some sort of gas or whatever that caused this particular issue over here and lit up the whole sky like it's a nuclear bomb. And then people are walking around showing the cracks on the ground and stuff like that. I'm thinking bunker. I don't know, dude. I don't know where to put it.
Wow.
But that's a pretty damn big freaking explosion, dude. So that's in Colombia. So just interesting stuff I'm seeing. My guy that I've been following down here from Real American Voice, who's been talking about a lot of the stuff that's happening in Mexico, he says the atmosphere in Mexico is actually getting better and people are a little bit more secured, that the government is making a big difference and they're seeing a lot of federales and police, and just a positive thing is happening over there right now here at this point. How far it goes, I'm not sure.
He's got a nickname too, El Blue.
That's funny. Even the reporter. Yeah. It's not El Azul, it's just El Blue. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I claim El Doctor.
El Azul.
Yeah. We also have another, what was it? Biden judge saying that the same idiot ruling for 2 times already have been slapped down by the Supreme Court 2 times. Even Justice Kavanaugh, Kagan agreed with the majority the second time. I do not see how the district court can compel compliance with an order that the court has already stayed. Well, they tried it again. So yeah, good luck. I don't know what these people are doing, dude. But the same judge is still pulling the same shit again. So I thought that was interesting. Oh yeah. Hey, go ahead. Did you have a comment?
Just say get rid of their asses. At that point.
Yeah. So here, fake judges, fake lawyers, court offices, but real fraud charges. Read that for everybody, Space Shot. In New York.
According to the federal prosecutors, the alleged fraud features fictitious video conferences that seem to include all the trappings of an immigration court. Judges dressed in judicial robes, immigration enforcement officers, lawyers, government seals, court documents, and scenery that resembles courtrooms and government offices. Attorneys representing the defendants did not immediately respond to questions. In addition to featuring fake judges in robes, the defendants also conducted bogus asylum interviews featuring fake agents in law enforcement uniforms. The elaborate sets also included official-looking government seals and U.S. flags. Wait, wow. In New York, but where?
Yeah, in New York. This is charged in Southern District of New York, where they're running this operation of doing fake asylum claims and okays for people and collecting money and all that. They were very good, like Hollywood style, dude. Fooled a lot of people in there. So yeah, I didn't think I was going to see that. Long as we're talking about prosecutions, we got to bring up our person that's going after the cartel leaders. Oh, and the other thing I also remember too, you remember when El Chapo's son was coming over to Texas with his dozen family members and they all turned themselves in to the DOJ And everybody's like, oh, he's not giving testimony on anything. That dude gave testimony on the whole operation they're doing in Mexico right now with some of the things that's starting to leak out there. So that boy is talking, not the dad, but the kid is. And
they always talk, guys. Yeah. Sorry, Hulk. Yeah, they always talk at the end of Goodfellas. They always have a story. They always have, they're always rats. And this is rampant amongst the mob and whatnot. But narco-terrorism to the downside. Let's go.
Yeah, so
even if he doesn't talk, you say he does, so that way he'll never be trusted and they'll off him in prison.
Yeah, probably. I agree with that 100%. Sinaloa cartel leader charged with narco-terrorism, material support of terrorism and drug trafficking, the whole satanic thing we all talked about with the death thing and the Mayan soldiers and all this weird shit in here. So, yeah. Yep. So just interesting stuff I'm running by. A couple of local stories here we're going to go by here really quickly. When officers arrived in Irvine, California, they found suspicious material, what they believed to be homemade science lab that had caught fire. While investigating, they found the indications of chemical nerve agents, and then they called the FBI and checked this whole scene out. So they're asking a whole bunch of questions of what's going down in Irvine, California. So that's something else you should be paying attention to. Another thing here. We got to stop by the AI for a couple of clips right here. So remember, Anthropic, which was being challenged by the Department of Defense, that you need to release all the guardrails because we wanted to use it for ourselves and we wanted to do military planning. And they're like, you can't spy on this and we can't kill people. And they're like, we're just going to make it a supply chain issue. But here's Anthropic making comments.
You've said AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 1 to 5 years.
Yes, that's shocking. That is the future we could see if we don't become aware of this problem now.
Half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
Well, if we look at entry-level consultants, lawyers, financial professionals, many of kind of the white-collar service industries, a lot of what they do, AI models are already quite good at, and without intervention. It's hard to imagine that there won't be some significant job impact there. And my worry is that it'll be broad and it'll be faster than what we've seen with previous technology.
You've said.
So that's coming out from him.
What it does after that, though, is it affect, and we had this discussion internally in the workplace among our industry, because AI affects a lot of developers and a lot of programmers as well, which is a high-tech field, right? And you're seeing a lot of layoffs happen in high-tech right now in certain areas, and they're moving around. But you're creating a knowledge capital gap, because that even though those jobs can be replaced by AI, the experience gained by the human being doing those entry-level tasks is designed to prepare them mentally to do higher tasks and in certain creativity. And now you're not developing that talent. So in 5 years' time, you're going to have a huge gap of people that can do that.
IBM already had that problem 6 months ago, and they said that they're going to get rid of all their middle staff. We're done with them, 20,000 out the door. And then a year later, they're like, oh shit, we don't have anybody to promote to keep the thing running. So we don't have any low-end managers, middle managers, or anybody in the senior side we can actually get up in the company. So they've changed their mission, and now they still accept lower line people, but the job changes as the company moves around. They are training these people to do different jobs inside of IBM because they know the lower level jobs are going to eventually disappear, but they have to start somewhere. So those are good things that are happening.
This is textbook use of fair use, no copyright.
Of course, that the company is not currently in talks with Stripe. So I thought that was interesting because everybody was buying the hell out of that. So I wanted to throw that out of the piece.
Apple might buy PayPal. That's the conspiracy theory on the Market Watch.
Apple also came out today, said that their new phone software is good for NATO compliance for security stuff and all that sort of thing.
At Jack, his new company, Block, just laid off 50% of its workforce too.
Yes, 40% got out the door. They have 10,000. They're keeping 6,000 is what's happening here.
And I saw 4,000. They 4,000. They cut it in half to 2,000.
Here, Tron, read a little bit of this. I don't know where to put this.
Guys, right there from Chris Martinson. India caught Jane Street manipulating the markets and kicked them out. China caught accounts abusing its paper silver markets and immediately closed the accounts. Congratulations, America. You have the most obvious corrupt markets on the face of the planet. Worse than India's, worse than China's. This isn't price discovery for silver, but blatant price setting, which is illegal or supposed to be. Apparently, we've lost the ability to hold anyone or anybody who has money accountable for anything. This is end of empire clown show type of stuff here. Prediction, the losers in charge will only figure out how important trusted and functioning capital markets are once we lose them. But of course, they will have their fat Panama Papers offshore accounts to console themselves with.
It's the same thing as the tulip crisis, back in Amsterdam all those years ago. It's the same thing. Sorry, it's what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same. Anytime, whether it's the railroad, whether it was the early computer industry, or going all the way back to the tulip crisis, you have people attempting to manipulate markets and imperfect information, and those that control the information and are able to control the market. So, market asymmetry is never real, and there's always those that game it. And this is what you're seeing happen. And what the words there that are really important for people to understand: end of empire clown show. Because that is really what's happening. That is really what's happening.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. Space Shot, read that for everybody.
Sure, and they've been doing that, keeping the silver down and gold for quite a bit. January 2026 layoffs hitting different. Amazon, 30,000 corporate roles. Intel, 24,000, 20% of workforce. UPS, 48,000 through automation. Tyson Foods, 4.9 thousand. Plant closures. Meta, 1.5 thousand. Pivoting to AI, 245,000 tech jobs cut in 2025. The AI replacement wave is here, and we have been reporting on that for how long now?
Yeah, for a while, a couple of years at least, as we start seeing it. Beer shipments on track is the worst year since 1980. So all you non-alcoholics out there after COVID stopped drinking. So yeah, we got wineries closing. We got beer manufacturers closing here in California. So yeah, you guys are not drinking a lot. So I find that interesting as a little deal to throw in there. They're not drinking.
People just are not drinking as much, which thank God, man. It's awesome.
Thank God.
Yeah, my niece doesn't do that. They microdose, they smoke a joint, they watch a movie, they don't drink, they don't go to the club anymore. And this is funny. This comes after all that IPA beer craze back in the day where the beer aisle just kept on going and going and going, and now finally hitting rock bottom. So this is a good thing.
Yep. Here, Tron, read that for everybody.
Boom time from Calvin Coolidge. Just in, a North Dakota judge said he will order Greenpeace to pay damages expected to total $345 million in connection with protests against the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline nearly a decade ago. The environmental group argues it's not, or argues that again or cannot pay the amount. I didn't know Greenpeace was actually still around, dude.
Yeah, they're still around, but again, more than 10 years ago, this thing happened, and they've been arguing this thing in court. But they finally came out and said, yeah, they're liable for slowing down the production of this Dakota.
That was all that eco-terrorism they were doing. They got movies about that stuff now. So
yep, I find it interesting that they charged them for it. So it took only 12 years or something like that. What else do we got here? J.D. Vance confirms he's leading the war on fraud. So with Bassett, we'll see how much they go with that. They're also doing the fraud here in California. And remember, I had stated the fact before Oz is over here in California that they found that the hospice cares, that 16% of Medicaid of hospice cares is out of one city, and it's in California, and it's Van Nuys. 16% of the entire Medicaid budget goes to one city. So they're asking a lot of questions of what's going on over there. So yeah, they're going to get to that. I thought this is interesting. Space Shot, read that for everybody.
Juicy. All right, breaking. FBI LA confirms.
Space Shot, space mute.
Oh, am I muted here?
No?
Oh,
okay, we'll go Tron. Tron, read that for everybody.
No,
go for it.
My bad. Space mute. Hey, it's been a while. Breaking. FBI LA confirms they are currently executing search warrants at 2 addresses, which a separate federal law enforcement source tells Fox News are the home and office of LA Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvajal. LAUSD is the second biggest school district in the country. We're told the underlying affidavit in support of the search warrant is under seal So it's unclear what potential wrongdoing Carvajal may be suspected of. More as we get it.
He's from Florida. Here's some pictures with Pam Bondi in case we're keeping score here. Visiting with Attorney Pam Bondi in Tallahassee to discuss the impact of Florida children here.
Almost looks like Scaramucci. No,
There's there with Joe Biden. So he's been around a while over here. Everybody's assuming that it has something to do with the LA school district and the fraud and everything that they're flushing money down the toilet. There's also things about some sort of app and a little bit of crypto, not a crypto app, two separate things is what they're saying. That's also is stemming from Florida also. So it's a dual state type of thing that they're looking at this particular guy itself. And they were all over LA this morning, all over the place looking at it. Here's this gentleman talking right here, giving evidence against himself.
And I want to confess to you, for those of you who may not know, I would be a hypocrite if I did not fight for those who today are facing conditions that over 40 years I faced as an undocumented migrant to this country. I want to repeat that. I would be the biggest hypocrite in the world, regardless of my position today, if today I did not fight for those who find themselves in the same predicament I faced over 40 years ago.
Yeah, so came to California as a legal immigrant. Now he's way up there, and just got raided.
They've been booting people that went through the process and got, proper residency and everything like that, but that committed crimes after being in the country. They've taken away. This guy didn't have it, so he obtained whatever documents he has, unless he got. What the hell was that grandfather thing back in the 80s? Maybe that's.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing I was thinking about on California's side. It's safe. So I don't know where else to put it. Was there anything else? Multiple investigation reports documenting the misuse of educational funds tied to that particular gentleman itself. But I'm hearing app and crypto coming from from Florida over there, from their Quintones or whatever his name is from Florida. If we're keeping score on those. So that's that guy's over there. Oops. What else do we have to throw in here? The last little bit here. Oh yeah. Did you guys happen to see this? That Attorney General James decided to sue Valve for basically running a money laundering deal and doing gambling for the kids. So they're trying to get rid of all the bad news out there in New York. But she's going to sue Valve that just got off the patent troll of the Rockefellers and had won a couple $1 million defending himself over there on that side. She's going to go after him at the same time, saying that the loot boxes are gambling is what they're basically going to. Did you guys hear this?
No. So people sell like Fortnite accounts with the skins and all, and it's a lot of cash. Like there's a lot of money in this. And we learned, years ago how they communicate through video games, but man, slush funds through this is wow.
So
is it individuals doing that or
nope.
Valve itself?
Valve itself. They're saying Valve is operating some of the games, and the games have loot boxes, and the loot boxes are technically gambling because you're betting some money on there to get it. So she's going after them for that, is what she's doing. They showed. Oops. Where else did we get? They show evidence of the New York State versus Valve case. They used a screenshot to show what it's like to get gold in game itself. But they ended up using this particular screenshot. So the internet went and found it. They go, dude, this guy didn't even play it. They're just taking screenshots from live streams from people playing the game and opening loot boxes. So they didn't even go do the investigation themselves. They just went to somebody else's live stream and started taking pictures of this. So I don't know what the hell that they're thinking over here. New York Attorney General used a Steam profile to investigate Counter-Strike. Allegedly, she opened in 50 cases and screamed for gold. Unfortunately, no gold was open, so she sued Valve. So they didn't find any evidence when they went and tried to go look for these loot boxes and try to record it. They had to go to the internet to get it.
Oh, quick question. Now, what's the difference on that? Say, like, my son plays, or we used to play, like, billiards, right? And the same thing. You'd have a thing where you could pay $1, and it was like a spin thing, and it was like, hey, you could win some stuff. Are you talking, like, physical, actual?
Yes.
Real gold, really?
Well, no, not real gold, but they're just saying because you're gambling and you might get some sort of thing, and you got nothing, and you got cheated, but you spent real cash on it.
That's Tim the Tat Man and Nate shot right there.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So I just thought it was funny on some of the shit that they're pulling out here. What else do we got in here that we want to throw out here at the very last minute over here? Oh, yeah, here's a good question right here. It's the last clip I'm going to play. But if you walked around Detroit, Michigan, and asked all the local Muslims to make you a gay wedding cake, everybody remembers that Supreme Court case, right?
What do you think would happen if we went into a Muslim bakery and asked for a gay wedding cake? No need to wonder. We did it for you.
Hey, you need it to be halal.
What's really important is getting the picture and the writing. So it's going to be me and Benny. Well, you have pictures there.
No, on the machine, you have in Kroger.
Go to Kroger.
In Kroger?
Yeah.
Like the grocery store?
No.
You would tell me to go somewhere across the street. And I want to say Ben and Stephen forever on the top. And then on the bottom, it'll say, same-sex, legal now, congratulations. But everyone keeps sending me somewhere else. They said, this is what you do here.
No, I don't want it.
It just seems weird that you send me that. Oh, I don't, okay, well, let's even say no picture, but you can write on it, Ben loves Stephen forever, and have our hands maybe holding.
No.
But we want at least the writing, you know. So, you know, groom and groom. Yeah. There's 2 grooms.
Wedding?
Yeah, a wedding.
What is the wedding?
Wedding is for 2 people getting married.
So, yeah, it did turn out very well. So let's see if anything comes out with that.
He didn't do it the right way. He has to go in and say, yes, I need the cake to be halal. And then they will, no, just kidding.
Be haram.
No, halal is, it's like kosher. It's
you gotta bless it and stuff.
Okay, let's get to our next spot, and we should do a commercial real quick, Mr. Space Shot.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready to flip over because we're at 128. We are on time there. I got some Rumble Wallet there.
Let me just make sure here. Rumble Wallet it is. Let me clicky.
Clicking.
Clicky.
Commercial! Break for 30 seconds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, they can freeze your accounts. They can shut off your cards. Lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currencies like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable, and by serial number, purity, and weight. This is not paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank, vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. Boom.
Break for 30 seconds.
I told you the other day, I got my first, I got my cherry popped. I got my first digital tip the other day from the from the wallet. Yeah, very cool, huh?
Yeah, we appreciate everybody who breaks out their wallet and donates to the show. We also appreciate comments in the video, after the video, in the bottom, and then thumbs up or donations. Thank you.
Okay.
Thumbs up, likes, and subscribe. So, Rdoc, do your share thing. Let me just thank one person here, or excuse me, 2 people here really quick. Thank you to Busy All the Time. I did pin that comment for gifting out a subscription to the channel. And Mr. Swick, who made that awesome Froggy intro that you guys will see towards the end as well, gifted out another subscription to the channel. So I do greatly appreciate that. And over to you, Mr. Rdocian.
All right. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, you like these, huh?
Vladimir Putin here. Do you have trouble communicating with your spouse or partner? In today's edition of This Authoritarian Life, world's most ruthless self-care podcast, President Xi and I will be modeling positive dialogue patterns that can save your relationship. Let's start with this. Trump is going to attack Iran. Sure looks like it. And I'm using I statement, I feel unsupported because you seem unwilling to do anything about it.
I feel overburdened by the expectation that it's always my responsibility to rescue our friends, especially when you did nothing for Venezuela.
Well, that makes me feel defensive, especially since you are now repeating pattern of behavior with Cuba, where you are also doing nothing.
Well, I think the cycle of learned helplessness really began with you doing nothing for Syria.
I accept that. I think I just had no more emotional bandwidth left outside of my toxic enmeshment with Ukraine.
And I acknowledge that I have enabled that.
Thank you. I feel seen. So, are we helping Iran?
I just think boundaries are so important.
Boundaries, yes. Borders, no.
Okay, so wokeism has hit the authoritarian side of the world. Okay, we got one more.
Vladimir Putin here. Do you have trouble communicating with your spouse or partner?
Is it the same one?
In today's edition of This Authoritarian Life, world's most ruthless self-care podcast, President...
Okay, then we don't have to do it again. All right, we're moving on. And we're going to this one. This is what if Donald Trump were born in other countries. So let's read this. Donaldo Tromero Bolivar.
Venezuela.
Russia, Dmitry Trumbov. Donald Trumpur of India. Yes, I would like a slush with that hot dog.
Rampur.
Donaldo Trumpes. Donaldo Trombe.
Who's better is Italy.
Oof, that's a weird one.
No, not France. Go back to Italy.
Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
Jackie Chan.
Don't lay there too long. Don't lay there too long. Okay, whatever. Daniel Tormani Farzad of Iran. Donaldo Trump of Brazil. Brazil. Okay.
Go. No.
Donald Rdoc Tarampu.
No, that doesn't work.
Donaldo Trumpes of Argentina.
Okay.
Donald
No.
Okay.
That porn stash. Oh my God.
No. Okay.
That's actually the black boss. The black boss.
There you go. Okay. That's enough of that one. Okay.
Italy won.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, so we brought this up on Wednesday, I guess, when we had our little show. I just want to throw this back in there because Palantir was allegedly hacked, and this is related to Peter Thiel and the whole Anthropic thing and all that jazz, all tied together because Peter Thiel and Alex Karp are basically doing mass surveillance of world leaders and titans of industry on a massive scale. Supposedly have all kinds of recordings of Trump and Vance and Musk and all the others that you hear about. They've got backdooring to devices, cars, jets of leaders around the world. And they're basically the evidence that this is multiple hacking groups that did this, evidently, that they were involved with helping to create nuclear and bioweapon capabilities for Ukraine and working with the CIA in Ukraine. Plan to achieve 1 year away from helping to do this. Plans to achieve this by keeping Russia busy with meaningless peace negotiations. Palantir is responsible for the majority of Palestinian deaths in Gaza because their software is used in targeting by Israel, and that they're basically the arm of the CIA, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. However...
I would like to throw out there that Kim.com also quoted this back again a few days ago and stated, I haven't been sued yet. Nobody's contacted me to take down any of that information. So you could pretty much say it's 100% true. Something along those lines.
There's some other information out there on various different other websites, intelligence, open source intelligence websites that are talking about it and whatnot. Okay. And then we briefly mentioned this as well, but I want to throw this in there again that, so a lot of the it's a huge number of the tech knowledge capital for AI is within a few Indian, a highly concentrated portion of Indian citizens that are working and living in the United States or around the world. And they are in the process of reconstituting that and bringing that back to India. So they're concentrating they went out into the world, got all this knowledge, helped develop all this technology, and now they're coming back to India. And we've got major organizations that in big money coming out from big world multinational corporations that are investing billions of dollars to now make India this super AI hub. And so this is something to keep an eye on because they have supposedly cornered the market with the individuals that know how to do it. Tech majors committing billions of dollars to India at the AI summit, and we're getting words that Reliance Industries, Geo investing, $109 billion. That's not. We're seeing some stuff like France talking about $200 million to make France AI for Europe. This is billions flowing in to India, coming from around the world. Also, in the start here, I want to throw out that the 4-year anniversary of the start of the special military operation happened on the 24th of February.
Ghost of Kiev.
Just the other day. And so Armchair Warlord brought this back up with somebody saved this. And back in the day, Adam Kinzinger, he's still a big, he's paid by Ukraine, lots of money, talking about this fake, this was never a real person. It was all fake. It was all PR. This Ukrainian fighter ace pilot known as the Ghost of Kiev, it was all fake. And so they brought this back out again, talking about the Ukrainian cinematic universe. So in 4-year anniversary. But related to that, the European leaders showed up in Ukraine to celebrate and show their support for Ukraine and the Zelensky regime for the 4-year anniversary. And this was also viewed as a air defense, the perfect air defense system for Ukraine, better than any Patriot missile system, because as long as Ursula von der Leyen, the system is in place in Ukraine, then it can defeat any Russian missile attack because it won't even happen. And that's indeed what happened. So everybody was playing up that the Russians are going to attack on this anniversary. They're going to do a big thing. Ukraine was out there talking about it. And then the Europeans showed up en masse to come, visit Zelensky and get a hug and a whiff of Zelensky number 7 or whatever the perfume is that he wears, and so on and so forth. And there was even the Danish former Danish foreign minister or president or Finland, one of these places. I forget her name now off the top of me, but she was called the Dancing Queen, and she had to resign in disgrace, basically because of her. She got caught in this compromising situation, doing lewd dances and stuff like that with different people. She even showed up there and received an award because she was one of the first of these Scandinavian country leaders to really throw their support behind Ukraine. So they brought back one of their resources, one of their assets, and gave her an award. But Ursula von der Leyen was there, and she gave a little speech. And let's see if we can listen to what she said at this little speech.
On your question, the way for Ukraine to become a member of the European Union, the answer is a very clear yes, of course. And Ukraine is on a good way to become a member of the European Union.
Okay, so what happened? She gave her normal speech, and then later on they did a little press conference. And look at Zelensky's face. He ain't happy. He's not happy. She was asked a question about when will Ukraine become a EU member? You said it was being fast-tracked. Will it happen this year? Because we have the BlackRock guys that are involved in some of the negotiations that need it to become that so they can get big investment to flow into Ukraine. Otherwise, there's no investment. Nobody's willing to risk their money without there being some sort of a incentive, like insecurity, like, oh, well, Ukraine will be part of EU. Well, she basically didn't say. There was no date set, but of course, we will certainly provide the support you need to achieve the goal. Basically, it ain't happening. And there's more than one country in the European Union that is opposed to it. We'll get into talking about Hungary and Slovakia and the Czech Republic and now Spain and a couple of others that are opposed to them joining the European Union. So leading up to the anniversary, the 4-year anniversary, everybody, Zelensky and everybody else, all the Western pro-Ukraine sources, Institute for the Study of War, were all saying, oh, Russia's getting ready. They're going to launch a Resniks. Russia's going to do a massive missile attack. They've been saving up all their missiles. During the negotiation process, Russia's been going really light. They had one attack that was pretty heavy. A few dozen missiles flew into energy infrastructure on the 22nd of February, and everybody was saying, well, they're going to hit Ukraine and Kiev on the 24th and on the 25th. Well, it didn't happen until last night between the 25th and the 26th when they actually did a moderate-sized strike. This is between the 25th and the 26th. They launched about 400 or so drones and missiles. You have the Kinjals. No, actually, there was no Kinjals. It was all Ha-101s and then they had some Zircon C-launched missiles that were also used, and they struck some very key things along the energy infrastructure here between Vinnytsia and Kiev, and also some things closer to the front line in Poltava and Kharkiv and in Sumy region as well. But they went after also a location over here near Lviv that is the key electricity exchange substation for the European electricity that's coming in from Slovakia here and Hungary here. We'll talk about that in a second because it's very, very meaningful as to what is happening in the region and what everybody's all worried about and so on and so forth. Also in the start here, I wanted to play this little clip from Donald Trump, who gave this comment to a question. We'll just let it play for itself. Just maybe too loud.
Did you promise leaders this week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank? Is that something that you
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
Okay, so Netanyahu was not happy after that, but they are still doing operations in the West Bank. So they have made incursions in the West Bank. They've made incursions into Lebanon again, and also done some strikes in Gaza. So Donald Trump very clearly. Go ahead.
Sorry, buddy. Did you think they were going to listen? Did anybody think they were going to listen?
No, they're not listening. And we're going to see how this plays into some other discussions and things going on related to Iran. And Iran is developing as the night goes on here. This dropped while we were actually starting the show, so I pulled this into the start as well. So this literally just dropped. Evidently, the Croatian president Milanovic basically has cut ties with Israel militarily. Israel is arming Serbia, and so this literally just happened since the beginning of the show, and basically they caught them selling lots and lots of weapons to Serbia on a massive scale, and very concerned that they're going to use these weapons to re-engage in some conflicts, unresolved issues between Serbia and Croatia. Okay, and then you also have the whole Kosovo thing there going on, right? So this timing, and this is a key paragraph here, the timing right amid the Druzhba oil crisis, Ukraine pipeline attacks, Hungary, Slovakia, energy retaliation, and rising Balkan tensions. Milanovic is doubling down on Croatia first, while slamming external powers arming rivals. Somebody's trying to stir up tensions in the Balkans. Again, the Balkans surround Ukraine, and that whole region is a key energy corridor for Europe. And there's some other factors involved in there. But who is doing that? Israel's doing that. Very, very interesting. So just file that away. We're going to have to keep an eye on this as it's developing and whatnot. And it also plays into the Druzhba oil pipeline, which we're going to get in here in just a moment. All right. This little news dropped as well. There's been a couple different Pentagon filings and reshufflings. In addition to one of the Joint Chiefs who was promoted to the one of the director Joint Chiefs from the Navy, a 3-star admiral. He lasted about 90 days, and they moved him back to the Navy. And basically, they're saying that it wasn't a fit. Well, there's also been some other changes and some other terminations, some in which General Raisin Kane and Hegseth have some disagreements about, others that they don't. In this particular case, this gentleman, Colonel Nathan McCormick, who served in the Joint Chiefs of Staff Directorate, was fired after slamming Washington for enabling Israel's bad behavior and accusing Netanyahu of aiming to expel Palestinians. Israel's our worst ally, this individual said. We get literally nothing out of the partnership other than the enmity of millions of people in the Middle East, Africa nation, he wrote. So our military officers are expressing certain opinions or analysis or whatever the case might be, and writing something like that publicly can be grounds for dismissal and having a bunch of other stuff happen to you. So interesting tidbit there. I thought I'd throw that in there. Okay. Couple quick things we're going to get into before we get into the big story of Iran real quick. Greenland issue has caused Denmark to call early elections. So this is interesting news. So Mette Frederiksen, and she needs to go. She's bad. Mette is basically calling snap elections, and they're going to be re-electing people. Some of this is maybe so that she can make sure that she has a strong enough coalition supporting her position so that they can be unified in their position on Greenland, or this may be because she doesn't have support. And so we'll have to see how the elections go. She's a center-left social democrat. She heads the government with the Liberal Party as part of her coalition, and the coalition of the Liberal Party has the defense minister. So we'll have to see how this thing plays out. I'm hoping Denmark wakes up and removes these people from power and puts in more center-right people that have more of a common sense attitude, but we'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on how things develop there. Evidently, the discussions about Greenland are still ongoing, but we'll give you updates as more news comes out. European UK Epstein fallout. So Mandelson got arrested. We'll cover that in a little detail. And Andrew got arrested. But the Mandelson crisis is putting Starmer in his greatest moment of peril. And so we've talked about this quite a bit. I don't need to go into a lot of detail. If you've been following the show, you've heard a lot of things. But he's staying alive for now. But the arrest of Mandelson has now caused a lot of concern in the UK political infrastructure. They just haven't found the right replacement for him, but he's gone. He's powerless. His ministers aren't listening to him. They aren't going to listen to him. They're not going to do any of his policy objectives. So he's basically totally lame duck. He's totally powerless and has no ability to do anything. The parliament isn't going to do anything with him for any of his policies. So he's basically pointless. He's just occupying the seat is what's going on. So Lord Mandelson was arrested, released on bail after arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office is the charge. So now the way it works is that this could take 10 years to prosecute. Literally 10 years. And we'll see how fast this works. Maybe they'll move it faster. But it literally could take the investigation after being arrested, could take a year, could take 5 years. it could take 10 years before he's actually charged and brought forth to court to stand before the bench. It's different than here in the United States, how the court system and the investigation process works over there. But the Jeffrey Epstein case is definitely affecting different people. All kinds of people that had affiliation with him, including, so Lord Mandelson wasn't the only one that had relationship with Epstein, and other people that had close relationships with Mandelson are also getting under fire. So Keir Starmer's closest rival in the Labor Party is also tied to Mandelson, just like Keir Starmer is. So it's like, bad on one hand, bad on the other hand. You got two bad choices, and both of them have Epstein-Mandelson connections, and so it's you can't win. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested and then released as well, and so we'll see how this one goes. There's a bad picture of him in the car, as he was being arrested, and so on and so forth. So that's interesting. So also for misconduct in public office is basically the way they're phrasing it. The Crown Prosecution Services and Thames Valley Police about whether to charge the king's brother. So again, this is one that could take years potentially before they actually do anything.
Rdoc.
Go ahead.
Just really quickly. So I put that down the bottom of Tip Secret, but apparently there's a picture of Jimmy Savile with a very young Keir Starmer, been going around for a while. So I thought that was very interesting. And also, would you happen to remember the horses that were going through England?
Yeah, the bloody horse. Yeah, the bloody horse. The bloody horse and the 666 and all that jazz. Yeah,
and it just happens to be 666 days from those bloody horses, those bloody royal horses going through to when your boy there was arrested on his 66th birthday, apparently with 6 police officers. So I want to bring that to everybody's light just for giggles.
No coincidence. No coincidence. No coincidence. So other people that are having the fallout here throughout Europe. Actually, did I hit all these, or did I miss one? Oh, I missed some. Yeah. Okay. So Kirill Dmitriev, posted in regards to this. Starmer is accused of helping pedophiles avoid charges by merely sending them warning notices. So he was the prosecutor, and during the same time that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. And so while she was over there helping protect pedophiles, supposedly some of the allegations that are being levied towards her, Keir Starmer was over there in the UK actually letting pedophiles go without prosecution. He was avoiding prosecution is some of the charges that are now being levied against him. And Kirill Dmitriev is saying Britons deserve better than Andrew and Starmer. So the royals are in a little bit of consternation. Some people are even saying this could bring the king to disgrace. So we'll have to see how this goes. And we talked about Thorsten. Yes, okay. So Thorsten versus Thorbjorn. Thorbjorn was the other guy that was in that. There he goes. Thorbjorn Jagland was the Nobel Peace Prize Committee chairman, and he was the one that was given that award. But Thorsten Jagland was the guy who was the former prime minister, and he was admitted to a hospital after attempting to self-delete, I think is the way we're supposed to say it now online, after a corruption probe charged him and led to his investigation going on, which is evidently turning up some other things. There's more fallout. Anne-Claire Legendaire, remember Jack Lang? He was the head of the Arab World Institute, and I think a former ambassador, or maybe it was another guy who was the former ambassador. But this guy has now been replaced after fallout with Epstein, and he's being replaced with another, Klaus Schwab, Soros type, Anne-Claire Legendaire, or whatever you say her name. French is never my strong suit. And further on, we've got Davos Forum Chief Brende, so the WEF co-CEO or whatever his name is, whatever his title is, has now officially stepped down after the probe has exposed much more ties to Epstein than originally disclosed. And so the investigation, which he even called for, is now resulting in his dismissal or his resignation, which is great. There's fallout to the Rothschilds. Now, this is the French Rothschilds. You got to understand, the Rothschild family is like a syndicate. There's multiple different little clans of Rothschilds that run different parts of Europe and different parts of certain industries and enterprises. This is the French side of things. And so you have Baroness Ariane de Rothschild is urging clients, don't abandon me, please stay with me, over her Epstein connections, because her business and the banking, the side of things that she's doing with her clients and other things, are basically saying we don't want to have any ties to you. There's something about a $25 million fee, the DOJ settlement, Kathy Rumler, and the formal contract, a charter flight to Geneva, all in the federal exhibit record, all reported in my February 18th report is what is being reported. So there was there was ties that basically are causing her to lose her clients, and she's upset about that. So good. Rothschild's getting a hit. For more people, let's just say if there's any more fallouts and resignations, Peter Mandelson, Thorbjorn, Thomas Pritzker, we mentioned the other Pritzker, chairman of Hyatt Hotels, is stepping down. Kathy Rumler, former chief legal officer at Goldman Sachs, and she was also another individual. I thought she was also involved in one of the administrations at one point in time. Brad Karp, former chairman of Paul Weiss, Rifkind, and Wharton and Garrison. He's stepping down as chairman. George Mitchell, former U.S. senator. That's big. Sultan Ahmed Ben Sulayem and Casey Wasserman Media Group. That's a big one. That's Peter Attia. Sarah Ferguson is now tied into things. She's shutting down her charity because of, of course, that. Mona Jewel, Norway's former ambassador. Okay, this is the former ambassador to Jordan and Iraq. This is the Slovakian National Security Advisor that was forced to step down, Jack Lang. Mohammed Wahid Hassan, former president of the Maldives. David Ross, School of Visual Arts. Larry Summers, we talked about. Yes Daly, former CEO of Barclays. Get the bankers. Leanne Black, former head of Apollo Global Management. So more tracking is going on, and there's sure more people being involved and so on and so forth, and we'll bring you updates. All right.
Yeah,
Iran.
Just really quick. There was, and I don't even remember the dude's name, but Sarah Ferguson, you mentioned there, who was married to the ex-Prince Andrew there. She was also heavily involved with some other dude that was, pretty much rubbing shoulders with Epstein as well. I can't remember his name, but she's doubly involved. So she, if she didn't know, then she's got to be the stupidest woman on the face of the planet.
Yeah, the British royal family. I mean, if some of our digs that we did back in the day, the whole entire British royal family, a lot of the Scandinavians. You guess you got to understand all that. Those were all German princedoms, and they all intermarried and everything like that. And they're all related. And the split of the Hohenzollern and the my brain just farted. Lothringen line, and the Habsburgs and all that jazz. They're all tied together, and it all goes back into one bloodline to Ani and Nietzsche and all that stuff, which we can talk about another day. But anyway, we got to get into Iran. It's a mess, more fallout to come, and the good that the Epstein files is released, and hopefully there's more stuff to be released. All right, Hulk United, you dropped this, and so I wanted to play this a little bit here just to kind of refresh people's memory of what's going on here potentially, and whether it's true or not, or it's up to you to decide.
On the doorstep.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material
for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the rich uranium for an atom bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out. Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years. If not stopped.
Okay.
Iran could produce.
So bottom line is that we've been hearing him talk about this for 30 years, and that they're days away. Well, it gets better. Let's go to this next clip. So this is Tucker Carlson. I did not listen to this yet.
Everybody knows the only reason we're having this war is because Israel wants it. This is their last chance, they believe. This presidency is the last presidency where they're going to have unequivocal bipartisan support. Period. You can't primary every Thomas Massey, and there's a whole army of them coming at some point because everyone can see what's going on. You can shut down X, and you can just shut down the internet. You can be like Great Britain and arrest people who protest Israel, but attitudes are not going to revert to what they were 5 years ago. Sorry. And they know this. So this is their last chance. What's so amazing is that Israel, which at least is acting in what it perceives to be its own national interest, is joined by its shills in the United States, of course. But really, its only other ally in this is the American news media, whose job it is to tell you the truth and inform you as to what's happening, to tell you, hey, wake up. The world could be changing, and it's going to affect you and your family. That's their job. And instead, they've been lulling you to sleep with the same variety of transparent lies and propaganda.
Just like Iraq weapons of mass destruction. It's the same thing.
Who said that one too? Coincidentally.
Yeah, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene had this one, so I wanted to include this one just to kind of give this perspective because she was one of that group that came in that basically was all about stopping this and going after the Epstein files and that whole 9 yards. She was part of that Q-MAGA group that came in to do this, and then she got booted. And she basically said the Israeli lobby, she has some other tweets out there saying the Israeli lobby's really strong. You can't go up against them, blah, blah, blah. But she posted this one, which is interesting. This is the debate back in, was it 2016?
The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Okay, no weapons of mass destruction. Colin Powell got up there in front of the United Nations even and pulled out a vial supposedly of anthrax and said, this is being manufactured, recovered in Iraq. And at least he had some sort of evidence that they showed. At the State of the Union speech, we heard Donald Trump say that he and other officials have seen intelligence. Well, they have not disclosed that intelligence yet. And a lot of people are saying you better disclose it before you get America in a war in the Middle East again. And that's not coming from me. This is coming from a lot of other people. So the negotiations happened today in Geneva. And why Geneva again? Well, this was brokered by Oman, but it was in Geneva again. Why? Because the Ukrainian bilateral/trilateral talks with Russia and U.S. were also in Geneva. So they had them both in the same place. Why? Because Kushner and Witkoff, so they could shuttle back and forth between these talks or whatever they had to do. So the news that came out maybe 2 hours before the beginning of the show or so was that Iran rejected the U.S. demands in the latest rounds of talks. So this sounds pretty negative, right? U.S. demands. So what were the demands? Well, according to this little disclosed TV blurb, U.S. demanded Iran destroy its 3 main nuclear sites and permanently deliver its remaining enriched uranium to the U.S. Okay. deliver any of its remaining enriched uranium, no matter what the level is, whether it's non-weapons grade or whether it's medical grade or whatever the case is, to the U.S., and we will be the keepers of this, and we will let you have it. That has basically, the demands of the United States changed today, changed from what they were back on the 22nd when they met last time, changed again from what they were during the previous round of talks. We keep changing the goalposts, and this has been noticed by a lot of different people. It's basically a design to basically be unagreeable. The Iranians have said they won't build nuclear weapons, okay? They've been saying this repeatedly. As a matter of fact, the foreign minister basically said our fundamental convictions, actually the Khomeini has a fatwa, a religious order that prohibits the government of Iran from making nuclear weapons. If they do, it is considered a sin punishable by death. So that's what the fatwa instructs them. So basically, Iran is saying, we don't want to build a weapon. You've been saying, Israel, you've been saying, we are going to build a weapon any day now, any day now, any day now, any day now. And we have yet to build a weapon. You say we are going to launch ballistic missiles at you. The only ballistic missiles we have launched at you have been in response to your attacking us first. That's what Iran is saying. Okay, this is the shuttle diplomacy that's going on, and the comments that are coming out of these talks from the political leaders that are back home in their home countries, right? So, the statements about building a weapon and we'll never let you build a weapon, and Iran saying we aren't building a weapon, we haven't built a weapon, and we don't want to build a weapon, but maybe we should because you won't leave us alone. There's some, remember that, because we're going to come back to that when we talk about Ukraine in a second. So this is the meeting today. They had a little luncheon or breakfast or something like that when they were having their part of their talks, and the headline here is basically the document. So the United States just handed Iran a document that is not a negotiation, it's a capitulation order, according to this person right here, this Mr. Pereira. The Wall Street Journal obtained the American demands presented in Geneva today. Destroy Ferdau, destroy Natanz, destroy Isfahan, hand over every gram of enriched uranium to the United States, zero enrichment permanently. In other words, you can never, ever enrich uranium again, Iran, ever. Not for any purposes, medical, civilian, whatever. No sunset clauses, no expiration dates. So basically, that means you can't use nuclear fuel to run the energy systems that you basically have designed, along with the Russians, to run your country cost effectively, because they rely on nuclear power across the country to provide electricity. So basically, you don't have any more nuclear. You got to go buy it from somewhere. And it's kind of what's going on here now. And it's going to be the United States. Zero enrichment permanently, no sunset clauses, no expiration dates. Behave for the rest of your lives in exchange. Minimal sanctions relief up front, with more only if you comply with everything forever and ever, because you won't have ballistic missiles, you won't have this, and we're basically going to pick you apart, eventually overthrow you politically, and your country will be forever changed. That's kind of what's going on. Iran's counterproposal during these negotiations, approved personally by Khomeini, arrived showing almost no change from the previous round. They're willing to have a 3 to 5 years enrichment suspension. And after the 3 to 5 years, there's basically the International Atomic Energy Agency and or a consortium of other countries, which could include the U.S., that sits there and actively manages the processing of any uranium enrichment at their facilities. Basically, the U.S., Europe, Britain, whatever, they can come in and actually physically manage and do the processing. They're also willing to transfer any of their enriched uranium to a third country, but that third country would be more like Russia. and Russia offered this previously. Willingness to dilute stockpiles, zero flexibility on Washington demands that is zero enrichment on Iranian soil. That is, they say, their sovereign right. So the gap between these two positions is a non-negotiable gap. It's a serious gap between the two sides. No government in the history of nuclear diplomacy has voluntarily dismantled its own program, surrendered its own fissile material to an adversary, and accepted permanent restrictions with no expiration while that adversary had 500 aircraft parked on its doorstep. Okay, let's see. Barak Ravid confirmed today's talks were both direct and indirect, with a pause for consultations. The pause is the tell. When both sides need to consult after the first sessions, it means the positions presented were further apart than either side expected to encounter, because the United States changed their demands. We changed our demands at the last moment, and they weren't prepared for that. Ergachi's good outlook from yesterday has already collided with the reality what Washington put on the table. He's now has to be told by his higher ups, hold your position. No, you can't agree to this. Let's see. The curtain went up today in Geneva, but the show was never in the building. The show is on the tarmacs at Ovda, on the flight decks of Ford and Lincoln, the bomb bays of B-2 sitting in Missouri, and on Coral Runway in Diego Garcia. Basically, this was just a show. It was just a delay, and nobody was expecting there to be any agreement that was laid out, because the demands that were given were something that nobody could ever agree to, is what he's saying. Armchair Warlord also had a little tidbit on this, and based on this quote, the Wall Street Journal reports these are demands, okay, and same thing, Thomas Keith demands, okay, and then this little tweet, we finished the day after significant progress in negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. We will resume soon after consultation. Discussions on a technical level will take place next week in Vienna. So they've got more talks next week, technical discussions. I'm grateful for all concerned for their efforts, the negotiators, the IAEA, and our host, the Swiss government. Okay, so that was the Iranian side. Also, the foreign minister basically said same thing. Further progress has been made. This round of talks was the most intense so far. That's diplomatic language for stress. Okay, and concluded with mutual understanding, we'll continue to engage in more details, including sanctions termination, nuclear related steps, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thank you. So diplomatic speak. His comments here talking about a lot of news stories today painting the latest round of talks as having broken down, as the U.S. having presented an ultimatum that the Iranians rejected, and the Iranians come out smiling and saying sides had made significant progress. The Americans didn't say much, and apparently everyone is meeting again in Vienna next week. Well, what are we to make of this deluge of news beating the war drums and painting the U.S. as having made maximalist demands? Doesn't seem to be actually happening. In fact, judging by what the Iranians are saying on the road back to the JCPOA. Now, this is very important. I want to lay this out to everybody so you can understand it in really clear terms. And this is Rdoc's insider knowledge. The Jewish lobbyists, the Israeli, pro-Israeli, pro-Zionist lobbyists, and the government of Israel, and many politicians on both the Republican and Democratic side that will say are in the hip pockets of the Israeli government lobbyists, will never allow the United States to do a JCPOA or a JCPOA light. Basically, Donald Trump is now in a conundrum because he made the ultimatum. He laid down the ultimatum. He put the red line down. And now if he backs down and he says, okay, well, we're going to go with this new agreement. Well, they've already started blaming him. Mark Levin is a perfect example. Mark Levin the other day just started blasting Trump preemptively. If he comes and does a JCPOA light, there'll be hell to pay in the ballot box in the midterms. Okay, that is the Jewish lobby that's putting pressure on him to act. That is the military-industrial complex lobby putting pressure on him to act. If he comes back and he does an agreement that is some sort of that is going to be labeled because he didn't go to war with Iran like the lobbyist wants, like Israel wants, then he is going to be labeled with this by this very strong political lobbying group, and it's going to be designed to affect his midterms. That's the threat that's being made against him publicly and privately. And so that's the reality that the president's facing and how to handle this Iranian situation. He's got the military guys telling him something. He's got the political people telling him something. He's got international leaders telling him something. And at the same time, he's trying to do a balancing act right before the midterms when he's got Epstein news out, when he's got no peace plan in Ukraine, Russia yet, and you've got other things happening in the world. This is the reality of what's going in this decision in this very critical time. So what comes out in the news today? This little tidbit.
Trump is weighing his options on Iran, and Israel is, of course, central to this entire equation. Behind closed doors, there are military scenarios that are being played out. Publicly, the rhetoric is hardening, and in such a critical juncture, Iran and the United States are meeting in Geneva, where the talks are now underway, isn't it?
The aircraft are in position. Second American aircraft carrier is in strike position. The targets are mapped. What remains is the decision. According to reports, President Donald Trump has discussed the possibility of Israel.
I don't know if you caught that. Right back here. Where'd it go? USS Gerald Ford leaves Crete as Iran talks begin. Very, very important. Before a understanding of the outcome of the talks, they already made the decision to move the Ford from where it was near the island of Crete, where to? Towards the coast of Israel. They already made the decision to put the force alert and get the forces ready to attack. They already made the decision before they went in for the talks because they knew the talks would fail. They knew the talks were not going to result in an agreement because it was designed that way. Okay, so the current plan now is politically it would be best. Well, we'll just get to the story. But politically, what the title of the original thing is: Trump urging Israel to strike Iran first. And this goes back to the playbook of not the Rand Corporation. What's the other one? The study that was done by the group that we talked about on the show many times, which wasn't Brookings. One of these think tank groups basically had a paper back in 2009 or something like that. Carlyle, and they basically laid out the scenario of how Netanyahu and Israel would be used to cause this escalation in the eventual scenario that would lead to the U.S. being able to be brought in to a conflict with Iran to basically affect regime change. Because that's what it's all about. It's not about protesters. It's not about nuclear. It's about regime change. It's about one of the few countries that the banking cartels don't control. Very important to understand that piece. So this is Donald Trump this was just the other day. But this is reiterated to what his comments were way back in July.
As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with...
Wait, what did he say? What did he say there, guys?
Military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
And both sides got up and stood for that one. Both sides, both Democrats and Republicans got up and stood for that. He said it like he said it back in the day. We obliterated it. We blew it up. It was like the best military operation we ever been done in the history of the world. Okay, that was what we heard back then. We bombed the hell out of it. There was all kinds of analysis. No, you didn't get it. Yeah, we did. No, you didn't. Yeah, we did. Okay, remember all that kind of discussion that was going on back in the day? Well, now you've got a situation where he says it again last night. We did this great operation and we blew up Iran's nuclear program. But yet he says, I'm going to attack them because they're building a bomb and I will never let them build a bomb. There's no evidence of them building a bomb. This is serious stuff.
I don't know. Some of the reports that I've heard that they were restarting some of the projects to get to the end of it. So were they building a bomb? No, but he said, don't do anything, else we're going to screw your shit up. And they're over there effing around and continuing to propagate their nuclear programs.
Right, but which nuclear programs, Hulk? And what evidence have you seen?
They don't want any. They don't want any. They don't want any there. And they're saying that I'm hearing. Don't say we or who. I'm not going to give you any evidence. I'm just telling you this is the other side of the story.
Right. There is no evidence because it hasn't been presented. We are hearing people say this is what you are doing. We are hearing political people say, and pundits in the media, unnamed sources in the Pentagon, unnamed, saying we have seen evidence. Trump has even said we have seen evidence. Okay, present it. This is what people are saying to
Doc,
do.
that's national security, though. It's like
No,
you can't go up the
Not when you go to war. Not when you go to war.
There is no war. Venezuela, Iran, clean and swift. Doc, there's no war, baby. I'm sorry. Turn off the algorithm, baby. Let's go.
No, wait a second here. So this is what the Democrats are doing. So I'm presenting you what's happening. Okay. Democrats are now forcing a vote to make Trump's war powers. They're basically going to enforce what they feel is their right or whatever related to war powers in Iran. They were cool
like
with
last
Venezuela.
time?
Yeah, exactly. Like last time. Just like freaking Iraq. Okay, just like Iraq. If you don't remember Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction, it's the same freaking playbook.
Rdoc, who said that we had weapons of mass destruction? Who prodded us into going there more than any other country? What person in particular did that? You remember? Sat right in our Congress.
Israel?
Netanyahu.
Was it
Netanyahu?
Was that?
Now, let me also, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and let me pose you another scenario. Trump's out there saying, well, we destroyed it, right? And Israel's like, hey, we need to go blow these guys up. You know, we need to go blow these guys up. They're building these things. Trump's like, we built. You guys see what's going on here? I mean, hopefully you can see through that narrative. It's blown up.
So
they want us to go blow something up that's already blown up. Highlight.
Well, unless we didn't already blow it up. Well, which one is true? Did he lie then or is he lying now? Or did the generals lie to them, or did the Israeli intelligence lie to him? This is part of the issue that you're dealing with in this part of the world, is that we rely on human that is mostly Israeli infiltration of Iran. It's not us. It's not our CIA. Okay, the Brits and the Israelis. Okay, you got it. That's very, very important. It's British and Israeli intelligence that is feeding us most of this stuff. Trump's top general warns Iran strike risk. Now, Axios came out with a story, and then the Wall Street Journal came out with something similar, basically from their Pentagon sources, that were not just General Raisin Kane. Supposedly, and the Trump administration has come out and they said, no, we refute that. There's no disagreements. He doesn't want to see this conflict either. I don't want to see it. We want to resolve it peacefully. Of course, no, generals would rather have peace than war. Most generals, hopefully the right generals in charge. A true military man fights for making sure that peace is there, not for more continuous war. However, the reports were reported by Axios, and they have some pretty detailed and pretty accurate inside, because this is one of Susie Wild's little contacts over there at Axios. That's how they get fed a lot of these top-breaking stories a lot. And then Wall Street Journal went to their other sources in the Pentagon and basically tried to support it. Whether that's real or not, whether they're fake sources, we don't know. But basically the deal is, and what is kind of happening is that they presented scenarios. Donald Trump wants, and this is something that's always clear in all of his military operations, he doesn't want something hanging out there that's going to drag us into one of these long wars. He never does. When he did that comment that I played for you back in 2016 during the primaries and those debates, that's him. That's the way he is. He wants a decisive victory. He wants a plan that will get him his objectives and meet his objectives and get it done. Okay, without U.S. bodies coming back home in draped coffins, that's bad for politics. He knows that, and so does the White House administration. And this is being talked about ad nauseum as to how to go about doing this. And what the generals presented him was that there is no good scenario, sir. You can't just have a limited airstrike. It will not be decisive in accomplishing what you want to accomplish. If you want to, make sure that this is degraded, because ultimately the objective is regime change. The objective is has to do with removing enough of the infrastructure and creating enough damage that a religious-based secular government, because they're not separate, that 76% of the Iranian people supposedly support can somehow fall apart and be overthrown. You have to destroy a lot of the country to do that. And so this is being presented as not just a one-night or two-night deal, but a weeks-long process, and a process that may not be able to be fully completed without boots on the ground taking key locations like one of these nuclear facilities and having, or an airport or something like that, where you've actually got control of the territory like we do in Iraq, or like we did in Iraq, or like we do in Syria, and so on and so forth. And that is a problem, because that means dead Americans. Not only that,
I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
We hope so. We hope so. But that's what's being talked. You can't make decisions like this lightly when you're the president, and he's not.
Well, he hasn't done it yet.
All of this.
He hasn't put boots on the ground in any nation.
Right. So this was reporting by Weon today, and this is what there a lot of people in Europe and the media. So remember, the media is never accurate. The media is always a problem. The media wants Trump to fail, but they want certain things to succeed. So how do you get what the Israeli-led coalition wants, but yet make Trump look bad? And so this is kind of how they're doing it. And that's because Weon is definitely part of the media conglomerate.
I'm just blocking this for a second, guys. It's one of those 10 million follower channels that's going to give my channel a copyright strike. Endless retaliation. The question now is very simple. How do you stop a war before it even starts? Let's take a look at these. Now, here's the challenge. Any strike on Iran's missile facilities must begin by degrading their defenses. Political pressure to hit the IRGC, plus the possibility of restriking, means there's no what? Hormuz choke points and regional proxies are all fair game. Each retaliation pushes the U.S. closer to escalation. The Maduro operation, or last year's nuclear site strikes where nobody did stuff about it, there is no clear endpoint. They're saying the situation's been building for months. Hundreds of launches of missiles. The Pickaxe Mountain facility is nearly complete. So he's coming back in here.
What's going to go on here? Iran has already said, you attack us, before your planes even drop their bombs, the missiles are going to be on your way to your ships. Okay. And that those aircraft carriers are sitting ducks to a hypersonic. They're sitting freaking ducks, 5,000 men at the bottom of the sea. That's a reality. Okay.
Like
so
last time?
this issue going on is one which Trump is weighing very heavily, and I don't think he wants to do it. I think this is all playing into the Save Israel for Laugh scenario. Now, you had posted the deal about the Gerald R. Ford or whatever, or there was a problem with the warship with the toilets. I don't know if you saw this or not, but 240 240 toilets are supposedly, or toilet incidences have been reported having problems, and some people joke around it's sinking. The ship is sinking. It's not sinking. This has been going on for months. It's not a new issue. It was initially reported in July on its initial deployment when it's over.
Yeah, what he's saying is that the troops have been on that ship for obviously 10 months. This new deployment, 12 or longer. They were flushing their undershirts down the toilet and then blocking the said toilets, is what he's saying.
Yeah, but again, we have to have proof. And, Colonel McGregor, smart guy. And if you know his background, he's got a pretty decent, respectful background. The issue that he's reporting, though, we got to see evidence. It's not just hearsay. We got to see the evidence to be able to understand this. But basically, it is hampering this deployment, and a lot of people are saying the sailors are not happy with being there and being a target. And so, just to understand that they've got Chinese anti-ship cruise missiles. They got lots of them. They've already been practicing with these missiles and with drone swarms all over their combined sea operations, the Strait of Hormuz. There's very real risks here. Our bases throughout the Middle East, Israel, other locations across Europe, there are some real targets here that Iran has said they're not going to hold back. You're not just going to you do a limited strike on us and it's on, like Donkey Kong. That's what they've said. Whether it plays out or not, I don't know. Nobody knows, except we hope it doesn't have to be that way. What has happened since the show started, and this has just happened in the last couple of hours, is that the Pentagon has activated its first kamikaze drone unit. These are $35,000 autonomous swarm drones, very similar to the Iranian-designed Shahed drones that are now the Russian Geron-type drones that are being activated. So you just continually bomb a location with drones. Also, while the show started, 12 U.S. military cargo planes were headed towards the Middle East, currently flying over parts of Europe. We also have another post here. Basically, at the very beginning of the show, we have 16 U.S. Air Force aircraft, including C-17 Globemasters and 5 KC-46 Pegasus refueling tankers. Now, supposedly, they already have like 42 of them in region. C-17s are carrying troops, equipment, and weapons, and so on and so forth. But the F-22s landed in Israel yesterday, and 2 carrier strike groups patrolled the Gulf. So there we are. And then lastly, we have Chinese high-res satellite images show the Gerald R. Ford leaving its naval base in Crete, heading northward and towards the coast of Israel. And the issue that's being joked about is that the Chinese even can tell, oh, you are low on crew manning the ship, because they can tell how frequently the planes are being moved, and individuals they're monitoring this stuff and reporting it to the Iranians. It's I don't know. We'll have to see how this one goes, but it's not a good situation. And this is developing minute by minute. Let me see if anything changed on the Twitter feed here. Any new stuff happening? Recycled. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Canada's telling citizens to leave Iran immediately, and Vance says no chance of drawn-out war as administration signals strike still on the table. So the CENTCOM did brief Trump on the military either right after or right before the talks with the Iranians. Okay, now let's get into Afghan-Pakistan because this blew up today. Afghan military launches large-scale strike against Pakistan. The Taliban attacked Pakistan, and so this is now escalated. And the Pakistan Air Force has bombed Taliban headquarters in Kabul and claims that top Taliban leaders and around 200 militants were killed. We also got a report that, according to Pakistani Defense Minister Khawaja Asif, that after NATO forces withdrew, it was expected that peace would prevail in Afghanistan. The Taliban would focus on the interests of Afghan people. However, Taliban turned Afghanistan into a colony of India. They gathered terrorists from around the world and began exporting terrorism, deprived their people, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so essentially, this is his excuse for why Pakistan started some of the aggression that the Taliban then reacted to, that now the Pakistan is attacking back the Taliban. Okay. This is the Pakistani Minister of Defense calling Taliban an India proxy and declaring Pakistan and Afghanistan are now at war. And the translation here, Pakistan made every effort to keep the situation normal through direct means and through friendly countries, full-fledged diplomacy, but Taliban is a proxy for India. Okay, so and we get into some language issues here that are being talked about, including Damadam, Mastkalandar, which, anyway, don't need to get into that. Okay, so now, the importance of this to Iran is important to understand. What countries border Iran? Afghanistan. Okay, so Afghanistan, Pakistan are now engaged in a conflict. Pakistan is a U.S. sort of. We removed the leader of Pakistan by corruption and clandestine efforts, and we installed another leader in Pakistan and thought they would be just a good proxy. Biden pulled out of Afghanistan and allowed the Taliban to take back control, right? Instead of the coordinated withdrawal that Trump was originally starting to do before his last term ended. That plan is now coming to fruition in the deep state, and so now they can stir the pot when it's needed so that on Iranians' northern borders with Afghanistan and eastern borders, things are stirring up over there, okay? And we'll see how that goes. The U.S. might get involved in that. We'll see. Now, then you also have the issue then with what's going on the western borders with Israel. Okay, do you see how this stuff is kind of related? There is no coincidences in this kind of stuff. All right. Flipping real quickly in the last couple stories, we have ongoing energy disputes and conflicts between Hungary and Slovakia and Ukraine. Hungary and Slovakia has effectively sanctioned Ukraine energy because Ukraine is trying to remove Viktor Orban and Robert Fico from power with the help of the EU. So 2 EU member states are getting attacked by the European Union and with Ukrainian support because they're consistently against funding Ukraine, consistently standing in the way. They won't get rid of Russian energy because they need it to protect their citizens and their economic prosperity in their country, this cheap energy that the rest of Europe gave away, right? So, they blocked a vote on the $90 billion loan package, and Hungary and Slovakia basically said no. And Hungary specifically said no, not until the Druzhba pipeline is turned back on. And because we have paid for that oil, the contracts are allowed to run, and Ukraine, you're the ones who turned it off. So Kiev comes back and says, well, we condemn your blackmail, Hungary and Slovakia. You're You're trying to hurt Ukraine because you know we need this diesel fuel. They basically shut off diesel fuel going back to Ukraine, and they threatened electricity. But then Hungary said, no, we won't cut off electricity. Your people will suffer. And they said, we won't do that. But then Zelensky did some other things, and so this is now escalated. And now you have a situation where this play about the Druzhba pipeline is becoming more and more vicious, and the European Union is becoming more vicious against Hungary and Slovakia and other countries that are relying on this energy and taking Ukraine's side against us. Well, what did Ukraine do? Well, Ukraine thought, oh, we're going to be smart. We can't stay very long in the position of saying we won't turn on the Druzhba pipeline, but what we're going to do is we're going to go attack a region in Russia way over here. Yeah, this is it. Or maybe, no, it was another day. It was way over here. No, that's not it. It's somewhere over here. Okay, yeah. And we're going to go attack this fuel processing facility that does all the mixing of the oils and the products that ends up going into the Druzhba pipeline that goes down here into Slovakia and Hungary, right? And Slovakia and Hungary provide diesel fuel going this way. Get with what? With the refined oil products that they refine from the oil that comes through the Druzhba pipeline. So Ukraine gets the diesel fuel back. They buy the diesel fuel from Slovakia and Hungary that they need for their army and to run their generators for power because their facilities are getting destroyed. But they've shut off the pipeline. Why? For political reasons, because they want Viktor Orban people to suffer in Hungary so that Viktor Orban will lose the election, which is tight according to EU polls. Well, the problem is the polls are not real. So after this facility was struck by the Ukrainian drone in Russia that affects the Druzhba pipeline oil flowing, now Ukraine can say, well, we didn't turn off the pipeline. It's just that there's no Russians can't send any more oil to you because their facility got blown up. Oops. That's how that game is being played. And so EU members are blocking oil, supplies and helping to support this. And guess, the commonality in here, you got Mr. Soros. And that's just the reality of situation here. Boris Johnson's back in the news. He showed up in Ukraine for the 24th or the 4th anniversary and complaining about Viktor Orban and how the oil is still flowing into Europe. And it's not just going to Hungary and Slovakia. 12% of European oil and gas comes from Russia, billions of dollars a month. And that is a very true statement. They are still using energy while gaslighting people and talking tough about Russia. Also, the vote manipulation, election interference is being used against Orban and others. And Alice Weidel in Germany has accused the European Union of manipulating polling data to overthrow Viktor Orban. And that is likely going on. And then Orban sends an open letter to Zelensky basically saying, if you don't turn on the pipeline and get the oil flowing, you're not getting the diesel fuel. We're going to oppose any kind of loan to you, and so on and so forth. You turn on the oil pipeline, and then we'll go and sign off on the loan. Basically, is kind of what's going on here, and we'll see how that happens. But meanwhile, in the interim, we get reports that Ukraine Banderites are threatening to invade Slovakia and invade Hungary and have actually launched a few drones into these territories to take over the energy supplies, the electricity supplies, which they've done in the past. This was done back during World War II. And a lot of Hungarians remember this stuff, and they're talking about this, and so they're getting upset. Well, fearing Ukrainian action, Orban deployed troops. So Hungarian troops are going to the various different energy facilities throughout Hungary to defend and protect them against Ukrainian attacks and against Ukrainian, lightning attacks or something like that. And meanwhile, the Hungarian charge d'affaires in Kiev the ambassador basically was summoned to Ukraine's foreign ministry 2 times in one day. And so the relations are turning really, really bad. This belonged in the Afghanistan. This was the guy that was killed supposedly by Pakistan airstrikes. The supreme leader of Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Hibatullah Akhundzada, was reportedly killed along with other senior Taliban commanders. So that was an update there on that Afghan-Hungary situation. Okay, Ukraine nukes, and then we're going to wrap it up. Zelensky, back in 2022, February 19, 2022, remember the last time he wore a suit, he basically said at that time that you let us into NATO. We're told the door is open. Budapest, you don't support us in the Budapest agreements. The Normandy format agreements and Minsk agreements not working, and so we gave up our nuclear weapons for this, and you will not give it. So what are we to do? We're to get are we to go back and get nuclear weapons? So this was back in 2022 that he was talking about nuclear weapons. Well, basically the Russians SVR, the Foreign Intelligence Service, basically the external facing intelligence service of Ukraine, like the CIA of Russia, sort of like our CIA, the KGB split into 2 groups. This was the outside group. Has accused the United Kingdom of France of actively exploring options to provide Ukraine with nuclear weapons. Starmer and Macron are not happy that Donald Trump's pulling out. And they basically have got their peoples talking with Ukraine about developing nuclear weapons. But they're going to do it in a way that makes it seem like Ukraine developed the weapons on their own. See how that game's being played? Just like the Flamingo missiles are Ukrainian developed on their own. Well, no, they're not. They're German Taurus missiles that were snuck into the country. Okay, and that's been proven by the pieces that have been recovered in the strikes. So the SVR Press Bureau issued a statement and basically said that these leaders are unwilling to accept what is an unfavorable outcome, and so they're going to give Ukraine the tools necessary to either have a full nuclear weapon capability to strike Moscow, to aid in their negotiation leverage. So basically, their position, this is the piece I wanted you all to remember from the discussions with Iran, we're going to give Ukraine nukes so they have a negotiating position against Russia. But we do not want Iran to have nukes for a negotiating position against the United States or Israel. Do you see the duality here? One situation, no nukes for you, other situation, nukes for you. Who decides? This is a dangerous, dangerous situation here. So there's some details here about TN-75. This is, I think, submarine. Oh, the M45 is a submarine launched ballistic missile warhead. So they're it's the same. This is some serious stuff. Now the Europeans are basically saying, "Oh, it's pish posh. It's baseless claims. It's not real, etc." But when you analyze Russian goings on and politics going on, sometimes the SVR will make a statement. They'll throw it out there as a way of doing a move and a counter move. So they might have some intelligence about something and they want to head off a plan that is formulating or just being formulated to make sure it doesn't develop. And they'll throw something out there. Other times they'll counter information, and then you'll see politicals talking about it. When you see the politicals talking about it, you know it's something serious, because that means they've been briefed. They've been told about it, and they've been shown intelligence. And so that is exactly what has happened here, as you have the Russian State Duma chairman Volodin making comments about this. You have Peskov and Umerov and Ushakov all talking about this. You have Putin's press secretary Peskov making statements about this. And so that tells you that the intelligence is at least real. Whether or not the plans are in place or in effect, we don't know yet. But I perceive this as something that France, who's been talking about giving Ukraine nukes in the past, is real. Also, there's talks by people like Graham of giving them tomahawks. Well, that basically means the same thing, giving them nuclear weapon capability. Zelensky made comments on this, of course, denying it. And then you also have a little story that came out here about Russian intelligence. Oh, that's the same story. Okay. According to the SVR, they said that the plan involves the UK and France giving weapons and technology to Ukraine to develop a warhead. Basically, the story will be that they organically developed this on their own, and then when something happens, they will start to blame the Russians that it was the Russians doing a false flag in the first place. It was never Ukraine. Okay, so this whole plan has been developed here. Well, here is the Institute of Study of War comes out and basically says, oh, this whole nuclear false flag, this is just Russia. Russia's going to do a false flag. They're getting ready. So it's basically following what the SVR said they were going to do. So they're doing exactly what they said. And yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, nuclear. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we need to end it there because Syria and other stuff is kind of minor. What was the other topics? Just for throwing it out there, the Ukraine peace talks. It's still going on. They met today, and then the Ukraine special military operation. The energy system is a wreck, and there's large scale missile strikes starting to happen again. Okay, done.
Thank you, Mr. Rdoc. We appreciate you coming out with that international stuff out there. We know it's a shit show. Everybody's going to have to take a bite. It's basically where we're at. And if you could please smash the thumbs up, leave a comment at the bottom of the video. That would be greatly appreciated here as we get to some of the exits and some of the interesting topics we covered today. We appreciate it. Anybody want to throw anything out before we do thank yous? All right, Tron, what's for dinner?
Tomorrow night, Friday Funny, Saturday Keeping It Wheel music show, Sunday morning, me and Leonidas bringing the bread to the table, crumbs and whatnot, fun times. Danny Scavs coming out. I'm exhausted. What a great State of the Union. And thank you, Space Shot Hulk and Doc, for a great show. Thank you, Tron Tribe out there. Thank you guys for the thumbs up, like, shares, and subscribes. And I'm going to bed. Good night. Have faith, being encouraged, dig me and pray. Where we go one, we go all. Yeah, I'm tired, dude.
I appreciate it. Mr. Rdoc, your final thoughts there?
Final thoughts are we'll keep an eye. Oh, sorry, dude. We'll keep an eye on what's happening there, and if anything breaks, we'll drop it to you on Twitter or something else. But hopefully it will not. Hopefully, this is just posturing, and hopefully somebody doesn't have itchy trigger fingers or provocation doesn't arise. But I've got a military-age son that would be eligible for a draft, and other relatives that are in the military. And boy, that's the last thing I wanted for them to do is go into the Zagros Mountains or some shit place like that to face, an insurgency or something like that. That would be bad, bad, bad. I don't want anything to happen. There's a lot of people in Iran that are peaceful people. Okay. And there's a regime that was working towards peace with Syria and Turkey and the other moderate Arab states just a few years ago. They were this close to doing it. And the Biden administration, like we told you right before that deal, they blew it apart. And I'm hoping Donald Trump can pull it back together and maybe at the same time expose the deep state that is saving Israel for last.
Boom.
Hopefully we'll get there, Mr. Space Shot.
I believe that's what he's doing. I personally believe that's what they're doing with the argument between did we blow things up? Yeah, we blew it up. Well, hey, you need to go blow them up because it's not blowing up. Hey, no, we blew it up. So I think they're putting in many different areas and arenas too, different topics you can look at. I'm telling you, ever since the whole Charlie Kirk situation, I've just been seeing exactly that quote Rdoc said, Israel for last, like everywhere I look around, it's like,
but it says in the Bible, Space Shot, Israel, it's Israel's stuff. Come on.
My name's depends on what person you're talking about, which ethnic group.
Look up pre-Nicene Christianity and see how that rubs you. If that rubs you the right way or not.
I know.
Could never know. It could be the right
I
thing.
like Tucker's interview a lot better than what Huckabee was saying. To be honest with you, he was asking all the right questions. All right, let's wrap this train wreck up here because we got to get out of here. It's getting late for us. Some people got to go to sleep, like Space Shot over there. So again, we appreciate you guys.
He's
What's
not
that?
going to work tomorrow. His work is off, man. He's home. He's snowed in.
Snowed in.
He's gonna go.
3 feet. You got 3 feet, dude. Hulk. I just want to thank Patriot Chick, Cockpit Monkey, and Rdoc, the top 3 contributors over here.
Yep, gotta hit those two
on D Live. And so don't forget to release your scratch-ins, which of course I do from time to time, and not on purpose. But the awards are coming at you in 23 and counting over there. And we had a couple of gifted subs from Busy All the Time and Mr. Swick, so we do appreciate that as well over on the Rumble side. And let them have it, Hulk.
Yeah, let me get over here to my list. Sean Joe gifted the can over there on the pilled side. Also, Cookie, another cookie. Q shook me all night long. Gifted the can. Hope everyone is well. Stay safe. God bless. Sean Joe with the can. Tanette Booth with the shades. Thank you. Sean Joe with a cookie Schwicky with the shades. Thank you, sir. Sean Joe gifted the cookie. Elixir 50 or gifted the phone. One Thunder gifted the can. Sean Joe with the cookie, and Schwickly threw out this little video thing here. I'll grab that and I'll drop it because he dropped it in there. Where did I just? Oh, I thought I had it. Let me grab it really quick again. Because he threw a Rumble deal out there, and I'll let you guys all see it. Kind of a cool little intro. We'll save it for the Saturday stuff, but you guys get a temporary preview and take a quick look at it for right now out there. And again, see us to Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, depending on what side of the internet you are on in the United States. We'll be here doing some fun, and we'll do another Coffee and Chaos. Might have Rdoc on, might not have Rdoc on, depending on how you audience reply to that one out there. But we had fun. It's a totally different show for itself. I recommend you go check it out. It's a lot more fun here, laid back. Yes.
Wasn't I more relaxed and just chill, man?
Exactly. You need to smoke more weed before the shows.
Yes.
So,
I didn't do any of it. I'm just.
Yeah, we need to send him some heroin or something. I don't know what. We need to send him something.
You can get it. You can get it here.
Oh, all right. Well, send us some then, and we'll make it some, trafficking. But no, I just forgot. Not that I forgot. I just wanted to make an announcement that tomorrow. Usually, I've been doing shows at like 12, but tomorrow I'm going to be doing a show at 1. I'm going to have Enoch on there, and he's actually going to show some music that he's actually made, some digital music and stuff. We're going to go over that and hang out. So 1 o'clock. Yeah, AI videos and music to go along with it. So we're going to chill out and have a good time. Maybe we'll have Rdoc smoke one and see how he reacts to it. No, but okay, that's all.
Yeah, Enoch needs your help because he's going to be moving shortly, and we'll figure out that when he does the show. I'm sure he'll tell you all about it. But he's going to have to move out of the house that he's currently in. So wish him the best of luck. And like Space Shot always says.
Okay. We do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Much love. Be good humans.
Here we go.
Something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.